That's insane.
People away. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is April 25th, 2023 at 1300 hours. I'd like to call the meeting of the Nevada Resilience Advisory Committee to order and ask the admin assistant to call the roll.
David Fogerson,
Present.
Billy Samuels, Billy Samuels, Andy Ancho, sorry.
That's okay. I'm still here, present.
Okay. Jason Andrus, Roy Anderson,
Present.
It was muted.
was that
I'm
Jason?
sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Bradley Iverson. I'm at the MAC with Jason Andrus, and Billy Samuels. We're logging in now. Just called in from my phone so that they could.
Recording in progress.
Okay, thank you. Travis Anderson,
Present.
Noah Boyer,
Present.
Elizabeth Holson, James Grizzly,
Here.
Brett Constant,
Present.
Cassandra Darrow, Bob Denhart,
Present.
Kelly Echeverria.
Present.
I'll never get it.
I heard you can sing it, so I
But
might.
I can. Andrea S.
Present.
Jenny Freeman,
Here.
Eric Holt,
I'm here.
Graham Kent, Marianne LaFoon, here. Chris Lake,
Here.
Carolyn Levering,
Here.
Ryan Miller,
Present.
Akeem Patel, Daniel Pereira, Matthew Peterson,
Here.
Ken Coiner, Misty Robinson,
Here.
Rachel Skidmore,
Present.
Joe Kirscher, Joe Cola. I can't pronounce that last name. Cola.
Cola Curcio.
Thank you. There's another one I gotta learn. Rachel Marchetti,
Present.
Carrie Underwood,
Present.
Stephanie Woodard, Bunny Bishop,
Present.
Heather Lafferty,
Present.
Melissa Friend. Here. Casey, Selby Marks,
Here.
Catherine Nielsen, Samantha Laddick,
Saw her.
Samantha, can you hear us? Saw her there. There she is. She must be trying to say something. All right, is there anyone that I didn't call that entered after I started roll call
That's on the NRAC committee.
on their NRAC committee?
Chief Ferguson, you have Billy Samuels, Brad Iverson, and Chief Jason Anderson in our room. Sorry for being delayed.
Yes, thank you. You have quorum.
Awesome, thank you. Move on to item number 2. This is public comment. This is discussion only. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under this item of the agenda until the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an item upon which action may be taken. Public comments may be limited to 3 minutes per person, discretion of the chair. Comments will not be restricted based upon viewpoint. To provide testimony during this period of public comment via telephone, please call in any time after 12:30 p.m. on the day of the meeting by dialing 1-669-219-2599. When prompted to provide the meeting ID, please enter 686-738-8625 and then press pound, or I guess the hashtag. When prompted for a participant ID, please press hashtag. When asked to provide public comment, please press *6 to unmute your phone and *6 again when your comments are completed. Please be advised that the YouTube stream will be between 60 and 90 seconds behind the live meeting. If you'd like to present public comment, please call in using the above meeting to hear the meeting live. I'll open up for any public comment on the phone. If you're on the phone, *6 to unmute. And I hear no public comment on the phone. Any public comment in Zoom world? See no public comment in Zoom world. Any public comment here in Carson City? And any public comment that was provided before the meeting to us?
No, there was not.
Okay. And we'll close public comment. We'll go to item number 3. This is approval of minutes. This is discussion for possible action. The committee will discuss and review the meeting minutes of the January 24th, 2023 committee meeting. The committee will determine whether to approve the meeting minutes. I'll accept any proposed changes, or if there are no proposed changes, a motion to accept the minutes.
Christopher Lake makes a motion to accept the minutes.
Thompson second.
First by Dr. Lake, second by Colonel Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. We will move to item number 4. This is overview of the federal fiscal year FFY 2023 Homeland Security Grant Program, the HSGP, and the State Homeland Security Program, the SHSP. This is a discussion only with Jared Franco and Suze Coyote from the Division of Emergency Management. The committees will be providing an overview of the grant process for these grants, as well as an overview of the compliance requirements for all grant requirements.
All right, good afternoon, Jared Franco, CFO for DEM for the record. So I ask everyone to turn their attention to the project submission sheet for the agenda item material 5, 6, and 7. The reason why we're all here, the SHSP allocation to projects amount is $4,605,125. Of that, the strategic capabilities to be maintained amount is $3,214,308, which leaves a $1,390,816 left to allocate to new projects. There has been a total of $2,581,417 worth of new project submissions, which leaves us $1,190,600 over our total allocation that we have available. Oh, so I apologize for all those numbers. Hopefully that gives you a little clarity of what we need to do here today. Also, I asked for inside of your agenda item materials for number 4. It gives you the deliverables and timelines for the HSGP grant. In total, we're currently at the NRAC meeting, and the other important meetings will be over the next 3 days, which the Committee on Finance is tomorrow, and then Homeland Security is on Thursday, which will give final approval of all the ranked projects so far. Please also note the grants training program that the date and time is to be determined. So please keep an eye out for the bulletins that the grant staff will be sending out. This will be a requirement before the awards are released to the subrecipients. And as well as last year, there will be grants trainings held during the regional workshops. There will be 3 regional workshops, one in Eastern Nevada, one in Southern Nevada, and one in Western Nevada, which you should all have the dates for already. If not, please be on the lookout, as those will be pushed out soon as well. Chief, that's all I have.
Thank you. I just have a couple other comments that came from the UAG meeting that we had last week, the Urban Area Working Group, where they went through the same process of what we're doing today. We had a very good discussion about how, as a state, we've made the strategic priorities, and we made it a 3-year strategic priority list. And that was based upon discussions we had at NRAC in 2020 or 2021. And I think Carrie Underwood hit the nail on the head, is how do you have a strategic priority if you only do it in 1 year? And so we made those strategic priorities last for 3 years. And now we've got some definition issues and some things that have come along with that. So we're gonna all kind of gather down at the UAG meeting and start the discussion, and then we'll bring it back to the NRAC for the final decision, since NRAC does make those decisions on the strategic priorities. But so I want everyone to start considering it, and nothing we have to decide or talk about today, but want to have in the back of your heads that, you know, maybe some of the things we do is that every 3 years or 5 years, we review those capabilities. And at that time, we also have all project competitive, because we've seen some growth of some of these projects that have been going on for a long amount of time. So maybe there's a point where we go back to competitive for everyone. And then some definitions for what is maintained, what is a enhancement, what is maintained and what is new. So we can look at all that process. So we're going to do that, start at the next UAG, and then we'll bring that discussion back to this group and have that discussion here and make sure we make some final decisions there. So nothing for us today, but just want to get those thoughts in your minds so that way we can start moving forward with how do we make this even better than what we've done in the past. Any questions from committee members on the agenda item number 4 for Jared, Susan, or myself? You guys just want to get to the good part of this. Okay. Well, drum roll, please. Let's move to item number 5. Item number 5 is overview of the federal fiscal year 2023 state Homeland Security Program project and budget proposals for the strategic programs maintained consistent with the Nevada Emergency Management Homeland Security Enterprise Strategic Priorities 2023 to 2025. This is for discussion and possible action. The committee will review the project and budget proposals, and will hear recommendations from Chair Fogerson and Vice Chair Samuels on the strategic programs to be maintained. The committee may ask questions of the project representatives. The committee will vote on the recommendations provided by the chair and the vice chair. So some definitions for all of us. Remember, when we talk ranking, that is everyone on the committee gets to rank. This isn't a ranking portion. This one's a voting portion. So only voting members of the committee get to vote. And Chief Samuels and I went through these yesterday together. And what we'd like to do is kind of go one by one and just make sure that no committee members have any questions on any of these existing programs. We did have a couple of questions that came up between the two of us. And so we'd like to start going down that list and make it a quick process. We're not looking for any of the programs to give reports unless we get questions on them. A couple of updates on your sheet, and you do have that nice handy dandy fold out sheet in about 1/4 font. I had to blow it up to 16 fonts, that way I could read it. Colonel Thompson got his binoculars out. So a couple updates on the sheet. We've got an NRAC rank and an NRAC ID with letters, and those aren't the same. And so to keep us all on track, the 5th column over says proposal ID number. We'll go by proposal ID numbers. That way everyone doesn't get confused on what letters which and which program we're talking about. The other item we have is the Secretary of State's application, which is project number 439378. It's a Nevada Secretary of State for net flow infusion detection system monitoring and analysis, where you need to increase that by $10,600. So the price of their ask is going to be $145,000, and that is because we have to spend that amount of money on election security. And if we just give them a little bit more money and have them do some more election security stuff along the same lines they're doing, it'll let us meet that federal guideline. The other item is project number 438998. This is Nevada State Police Highway Patrol integrated training exercise program. Was pulled yesterday by the Colonel of the Highway Patrol. And so we can remove that mark off of our worksheet as well.
Which one was that again, Chief?
That is 438998. Nevada State Police Highway Patrol for a training exercise program.
Chief Fogerson, can you read back what that first project was and the dollar value we're adding it to based upon their letter, their alphabet letter associated?
So it's LQ and for the Nevada Secretary of State.
And the dollar value we're adding was 10,000?
10,600, and that makes it an even $145,000.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Chief Kelly Echeverria, for the record, can you state the new totals for maintain and enhance projects?
Yeah, what was the amount for United States Police?
That's Zach's got it.
Chair, this is Billy Sanders. Before you guys go any further, sorry to interrupt you, Kelly, but you have to have 145 for 25. So that election security, you have to have that $425 more. That's what the SHSP requirement is per your calculation. So can you please add another $425 to that the Secretary of State project? Thanks.
Absolutely good catch on that, Billy. Thank you, sir. So item LQ for the Secretary of State will now be $145,425,000. And then we're removing MR, the Highway Patrol project.
Oh, all of it. Oh.
And Zach, can you work up some numbers for us so we know that?
Yeah, give me just. So.
So what's the new maintain?
So the maintained is, 3,733,292.79. The new enhanced is, $1,922,109.67. Which puts our, that is not loading. Puts our new available competitive at $1,811,183.12.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
So we'll go item line by line here for AA. This is the Douglas County Emergency Management CERT program. Does any committee members have any questions on this program? Hearing none, we'll move to BB. This is the Washington County Sheriff's Office Consolidated Bomb Squad. Anybody, any committee members have questions on BB? How about CC? This is the Elko County CERT program, the Northeastern Nevada CERT program. Anyone, any committee members with questions on CC? Okay, DD, this is the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Southern Nevada Counterterrorism Center Sustainment Program. Any committee members with questions on DD?
Chair, this is Billy Samuels.
Go ahead, sir.
With it being a maintain project, there's a 30% increase. Can we get the reason what for the increase was at?
Absolutely.
Of course, I'd be happy to speak to that. Rachel Skidmore for the record. Can you hear me? Is my audio good?
Yep, we can hear you perfectly, Rachel.
Excellent. All right, thank you, team. Yes, there's a 30% increase on this grant this time. And unfortunately, it's because, as you all remember, we pulled the cybersecurity program that was the contractor that we were utilizing for several years. So historically, in fiscal year 20, we requested $566,000 for maintain. In fiscal year 21, it was $670,000 for maintain. So in fiscal year 22, we were really pleased to be able to pull off two of our very large contracts, because my director has a very serious devotion to bringing a lot of our things in-house and trying to be as judicious with this funding as possible. He did a great campaign pushing forth to bring the cyber position in-house internally. I'm happy to report to this body that he was successful in doing so, and he actually just received approval here while we're back in DC right now, that he's able to hire that internal cyber position. Unfortunately, the agreement was that we would carry that position on the grant one more year in preparation to pull that over to our budget and bureau side of the house. So that position was added back as a staff position. It's not a scope change, it's that same existing position, it's just moving in-house. So that dollar value that we're asking for now this year is that $509,000, which is still a reduction from our fiscal year 20 and 21, but this will be our last funding year that we will have that on the grant. And I'd be happy to take any questions. That's the only specific line item. Everything else is standard protocol for renewals and sustainment.
Thank you, Rachel. I do have one other question there. Last year, it looks like you guys asked for $74,000 for the contract privacy officer, but this year you're asking for $121,000 for the contract privacy officer. Why the?
I'd be happy to speak to that as well. So it's a mandated position that fusion centers are required to have two specifics. So a security officer and a privacy officer. We hired an individual on a contract basis for our privacy position who has been knocking it out of the park. She is recognized on a national level for the work that she's doing, not just at our fusion center, but nationwide. And the billable hours were not enough to meet the demands for the fusion center. Originally, we had put this forth for a very small part-time contract position for billable hours. And we were able to, due to the workload and the individual projects that they're doing for the new See Something, Say Something campaign, revamping our website and some other things that we have working with counterterrorism, we were asked to increase those billable hours to meet the needs for the program.
Harry Underwood for the record, with an amplification point to what Rachel just discussed. We were just notified. Our privacy officer has not been notified, so I'd appreciate if it stayed in this forum. But she's also being recognized as Privacy Officer of the Year by the National Network of Fusion Centers tomorrow.
Well, that's awesome. Does anybody else have any questions or concerns with DD, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Southern Nevada Counterterrorism Center?
Jeannie Freeman for the
I did want
record. Rachel.
Oh,
go ahead.
I did just want to emphasize one more. So it's not a full-time position. So the hours that we had originally allocated were, if that, not even the 20 hours a week. So we've increased this position. It's still not a full-time based upon billable hours, but we were able to add more for the projects. Sorry, go ahead, Jeannie.
Thanks, Rachel. So Jeannie Freeman for the record. In the future, do you anticipate this being a full-time position and or increasing the hours beyond which you're increasing them?
No, so this position is a skilled position and we go to contract for it. So it's every 5 years that it is, and this it's an attorney position and it will not be in-house. So this one will always probably maintain that contract position. And to the second part, I don't anticipate an increase.
Thank you.
And I did just want to emphasize too that this position has been one that has been funded since the inception of the grant, and we have never asked for an increase. This will be our first year, I want to say in over a decade, that we're asking to increase this program because it has been so phenomenal based upon output.
Awesome. Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else with questions on the Southern Nevada Counterterrorism Center? Okay, we'll move to EE. This is the Nevada Division of Emergency Management Statewide Recovery Program. Does anyone have any questions on that program? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to FF. This is the Nevada Threat Analysis Center. Does anyone have any questions on this program?
Chair, this is Billy Samuels. No questions, just comments. The worksheet says 824-626-80. This project says 822-066-80. Can we just make sure we clear up those numbers?
Zach, you got that?
You said it again.
Chief, can you say that one more time for Zach?
Yeah, thanks, Zach. So the combined allocation sheet that you guys have here says 822-066.80. That's on the application itself, but on your spreadsheet it said 824-626-80. The spreadsheet needs to match the application sheet.
I will get that updated. Thank you.
Thank you. That was it, Chair.
Thank you. And I do got a question for that because there is an increase on this one. It can either Chief Miller or I think Dr. Marks is on. What is the increase in capability we're getting out of this increase in cost?
Yes, hello. For the record, Selby Marks. The increase is primarily from a new item, Celebrite Premium and then Celebrite Pathfinder. Those two costs for this particular budget is $95,920 for Celebrite Premium and $81,825 for Pathfinder. This is a sustainment item right now. This would be year number 3 for both Pathfinder Premium and Pathfinder, or Celebrite Pathfinder and Celebrite Premium. We purchased a 2-year contract utilizing 2019 and 2020 cost savings that we're currently implementing. This would be for year number 3 going into the fiscal year 25 period, and includes a 10% increase, which is estimated to be the cost at the time that we make the purchase for this particular item. Also, we purchased a product called ScanWriter. It is a product used by the U.S. Treasury that scans any type of bank document or financial document from any particular institution in the United States and worldwide, and then puts it directly into a spreadsheet for analysis. That has cut down the time our financial analyst spends crunching numbers, putting it into a particular format so it can be analyzed from several days down to just a couple of hours. So it's highly efficient. To offset this, we have eliminated about $62,800 in other factors in prior budgets. The primary one would be the public awareness campaign. We decided to go in a different direction with that. So that's a cost savings of $50,600. We've also reduced the amount for the clear line item by $2,800. We reduced consumables by $3,700. We've reduced a couple of travel areas by about $3,500. And we also reduced the CIKR travel for out of state by $400. So that comes to $62,896 in cost savings that we use to offset those other increases that I just mentioned.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. And Jeannie, we'll go to you just one second. Colonel Compton actually had a pretty valid question that I thought we should make sure we air on this one is the differences in the funding for INTAC versus Southern Nevada Counterterrorism Center, because INTAC in this group gets a lot more money from this group than Southern Nevada Counterterrorism Center gets. And the Southern Nevada Counterterrorism Center also gets the UASI funds, and then Metro puts a lot of money into their program. And INTAC is getting the money from the Nevada Division of Investigations along with this committee. So that's why you'll see a difference in those dollar amounts going to those two different sites. Jeannie.
Jeannie Freeman for the record. Quick question. So with the getting of new things and then the canceling of other things off of this, how is this still, are we sure that this is all still fitting within the scope of what we're talking about with maintaining? And I'm not in the counterterrorism world, so I want to make sure that we're not taking something that's a maintain and creeping in things that are new because we have a maintenance status.
Correct. Sylvie Marks for the record. So with regard to the public awareness campaign, we've had some dialogue along with the Southern Nevada Counterterrorism Center with the See Something, Say Something program at the Department of Homeland Security. They have really enhanced their support to state fusion centers with regards to putting together publishable materials, whether that be billboards, whether it be signage, whether it be trifolds. So that's eliminated a huge cost that we used to contract out for. With regards to the advertising side, we're moving in a different direction where we're going to be going out to local sheriff's offices, to the counties, to other partners, providing them materials directly. So changing the program from one where we were purchasing radio ads, where we were putting up numerous billboards, where we were making purchases with on Facebook and those types of media. That was awfully expensive, so we've been able to maintain the capability for our awareness program, but just change the focus. With regards to Clear and the consumables, that just reflects the costs going forward. We've been able to identify where we were over allocating in prior budgets. So we're still maintaining the capability. It's just being more realistic and trying to be as efficient as possible with the way that we're funding those line items. The same for the changes in the travel. We've identified we don't need as much travel funds in certain areas. Those line items still exist, except for one that we eliminated for exercises. We had not used that for the last 2 years, so we decided to eliminate that. But the capability still remains. With respect to the new purchases, SolidBright, ScanWriter, Hawk Analytics, those are all new capabilities that help us leverage our existing capabilities and work in with the folks we want to take forward with regards to maintaining our current capabilities. Does that help answer your question?
Okay. Kind of. A follow-up question for you, though, is related to these projects that are these elements that you're adding and the reduction in the funding associated with exercising. We know that exercising is really critical to make sure that anything that's a plan is actually able to be executed and handled if there was such a situation. So I have a bit of a concern about there being a reduction in that type of element. But with these elements that you have added, is there anticipated increase in cost over the coming years associated with that? And if so, do you have you signed a long-term agreement or contract associated with this where there's increases each year?
So I'll go back to the first question with regards to exercise. So the line item that was eliminated was travel in the amount of, let's see here, $1,518. That was an anticipated travel down to Las Vegas for strategic national stockpile training. We are still engaged in that activity. We're just going to use a different line item to support that travel. But this was a way for us to be a little bit more efficient with the way that we allocate our travel funds. So we're not taking ourselves out of any sort of exercise program. We're just realigning the way that we fund it. Does that help answer your question on that one? With regard,
no, but that's okay. We'll
All right.
Moving on.
with regard to the new purchases, these are not long-term contracts. We have a current 2-year contract with Celebrite. This would be the 3rd year contract going forward to maintain the capability that we currently have. And there are cost increases that are anticipated in here, approximately 5% per year. So it'll be in year number 3. So we added the 10% over the current cost we're paying right now for Celebrite.
All right, thank you.
And Jeannie, I think you brought up one of the key points that we kind of started the discussion on UAG, and we need to have the discussion here in the future, is when we start talking about maintain, where are we maintaining a price range or are we maintaining a capability? And I think that's part of the distinction we got to figure out. Are we maintaining the capability that they're going to be continuing to be able to do what they do, or are we maintaining it within that same dollar amount? And I think that's going to be the discussion we got to have moving forward to how do we work that one out between everybody.
Yeah, Jeannie Freeman for the record. I agree with you, Chief. I think some of the challenge that I find is that that discussion about maintenance, that it's not, well, we get this amount of money because we're maintaining, so we're going to kind of put this in here and put that in here and pull this out and pull that out so that it meets what we're looking for. And again, really making sure that we're tying to those capabilities and having the evidence of that, and that the money is being spent in that direction. I think that's absolutely critical that we have. And I know your team does a great job with making sure that the money is spent appropriately. We just want to make sure that there are others that we just don't want to crouch on things that are inappropriate. And I'm not saying that is happening here. I'm just wanting to make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to those items.
Absolutely. Does anyone else have any question on FF? Okay, let's go to GG. This is the Washoe County Emergency Management Homeland Security Program statewide coup. Any questions for Washoe County on that one?
Dave, this is Billy Samuels. I got a question for him.
Go ahead, sir.
With this increase in funding that you guys are requesting, does that increase our capabilities, or why was there an increase in cost there? Because it seems like it should be pretty consistent.
Yeah, so Kelly Echevarria for the record, we're increasing the price based on the addition of entities into the portal and the increased load on the portal support team. Also, this go around includes Las Vegas, our Clark County Water Reclamation District. And so the amount of travel increased for us compared to the previous year, which was Humboldt and Sparks. Not very far to go for us on that one. So cost of travel increased as well.
No, that's fair. Thank you, Kelly.
I do, sorry, Kelly Echevarria again for the record. I do want to state that we did look at alternatives to, having long-term solutions, continuing to add more entities to the portal and the price increases that come along with that. Some of the solutions that we explored were, obtaining our own server, having the portal based out of the county, but then associated costs with that included, managing user access, security issues, just a number of things that we are not capable of as a 3-person office in managing. And so we determined that wasn't a feasible option at this time.
Copy that, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on GG? How about HH? This is Division of Emergency Management, NIMS maintenance. Okay, IDA. This is Nevada Division of Emergency Management, mission support, and the statewide interoperability coordinator. Okay, hearing none. How about JJ, Division of Emergency Management, Tribal NIMS? Provides an emergency manager for all the tribes that don't have an emergency manager. KK, the Washoe County Sheriff's Office CERT maintain program. Any questions here?
I have one, Dave, Billy Samuel, sorry to be the pester. I guess my question is, with the 24 radios, how many people, and the increase in 32% increase, how many people do they roster a year, and why do they need 24 more radios? And any answer to that?
Joel Osregi for the record, Washoe County CERT program. Yes, sir. We're increasing the number of radios because we're working more and more with our agency partners. The 24 gives us a better span of control over 280 volunteers. Of the 280, we had 249 out last year working events and working with our partnering agencies, and we don't have enough radios to keep in contact with everybody and keep in contact with our partnering agencies. An example would be we worked flooding this year with Truckee Meadows Fire, and we had to borrow their radios because we didn't have enough radios to stay in communication with them while we were doing damage assessments.
County Emergency Management is asking for 43 radios. Yeah, are we muted? Washoe County Emergency Management is asking for 43 radios. And I'm assuming it's the same system as what you're working on. They have a different dollar amount than you got. And theirs is for a radio cache. Is there any way that instead of buying Washoe County, total of 70 radios total between the two, that we could partner together and use that radio cache for the CERT team? Kind of throwing a question out there for both you and for Kelly to see if that's a potential possibility of some cost savings for the state.
Kelly Echeverria for the record, our cache is available for CERT to use, always has been, always will be.
Thank you, Kelly.
Absolutely. Yeah, Joel Osregi for the record. We can absolutely use Kelly's radios, but in a large scale event, I think those radios would be probably issued out to first responders that would need them more than we do. And that's why we're trying to keep radios in the CERT office so we can respond as well without depleting the sources that Kelly has.
Kelly, do you normally give those cache radios out to first responders, or is that normally something that agencies are taking care of with their caches?
I have not had to supply first responding agencies with radios during an event.
Jeannie Freeman for the record. A question related to the CERT team radios. Are those only used for the CERT team? And the second question is related to, forgive me, I'm totally brain dead. I'm on East Coast time right now. So let me ask you that question first and I'll try to remember the other one.
So our radios, we can use them with interoperability through the sheriff's office if they have a need, through the fire departments or the agencies we work with as well. So no, they're not specific to us.
Okay, so they're potentially used by the agency on a day-to-day basis, not just the CERT team?
It wouldn't be a day-to-day basis. It would be during an emergency event.
Okay, and then is this increase something that you're asking for with is this a one-time request for this increase? Or is this going to be something that's going to stay so that radios are rotated out and we're looking at maintaining this so that we continue to replace the cache of radios?
This is a one-time request.
Kelly Echeverria.
And what is the plan?
Sorry, just 1 second. Kelly Echeverria for the record. Yeah. I think that this would be a repeating request. As soon as those radios become obsolete, you would need to replace them, and that can only be done through the same funding source, which is why we're asking for our ask as well. So that would need to be the same process.
Right, that's my concern, because the radios become obsolete in a rather short period of time, and we know that there's a major expense with getting them replaced. And so that's why my concern sits that if we're doing it now, that it's going to be, it may not be something that comes in next year, but then it's going to be something else that gets added to it. So the funding is tight. And so trying to figure out how we can be most efficient in our regions is going to be really important for this funding source.
So with the radios that we're requesting right now, we use Macon 700s. And those are older radios that were issued to us. They no longer have capabilities, especially within the P25 system. We don't use them as much as other responding agencies would. So we anticipate these radios would last longer than the normal life cycle of a radio, as long as the system doesn't change.
Thank you.
Any other questions on KK?
Dave, this is Jeannie Freeman for the record. May I ask a process question at this point?
Please.
Or do you need to wait till we get through the end?
Why don't you go ahead and ask now where you're thinking of it?
Okay. Thank you for my brain. These are maintain proposals, and it's going to be those voting members that get to vote on these because these are not ranking situations. Is there going to be the potential that the committee voting members can say yay or nay on items, or is it a one lump sum maintain process, even though I know you and Chief Samuels have gone through them?
I think my recommendation, the committee is going to be able to pull stuff out and maybe move it to new, so that way it becomes a competitive project. If we need to do something along those lines, if there's something in here that doesn't really feel right to people, I think we
Understood. Thank you. Thank you.
Misty?
So this is Misty Robinson for the record. I'm also on East Coast time, so please forgive me. Is there a way for the Sheriff's Department and County Emergency Management to work together to decrease the number of radios being purchased on either side?
Hey, Misty, this is Kelly Echeverria for the record. So we have asked about previous deobligation funds and would be happy to reduce our amount if those are available. We have purchased some replacements for our cash with previous funds to try to break it up and reduce the ask for this FY23 application process. So, I mean, I'm just putting it out there as that's an option as well.
Thanks, Kelly.
And Kelly, I think the question wasn't using other deobligated funds for this, but is there a way that the sheriff's office and you could work together to decrease, maybe not buying 70 radios that aren't going to be used all the time because they're either being cash or they're for a CERT team, and maybe do some partnership there to save some money for another project that might need it?
Yes, we have 51 radios in our cache, and as I've stated before, CERT is able to use them at any time.
So is the sheriff's office willing to reduce or take that line item out and use the emergency management radios during an emergency? I'm not saying you have to. I'm just asking if that's like a possibility that maybe we can discuss as we're going through the voting process later on.
It's certainly a possibility we could discuss. And, you know, if we have a partnership with the emergency management, absolutely, we would still like to keep the cash on hand. So we have some radios just at all times and not affecting Kelly's cash. She's got 50. It sounds like a lot of radios, but in a big event, I think you'd be close with 50.
No, I get you. I understand. Just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I agree with you on the CERT team and the radios, but it sounds like Kelly doesn't really give out her cash that often, and has never reached that capability. So trying to make this money go a little further. And I think there's also a little bit about paying for a 800 megahertz radio for a CERT member. And I get how we need to do that, but I think that's something else that's probably going through some people's heads too, because you're the only community that does that. So that's kind of a mind meld for some of us to get across as well.
Again, the key to the radios is the fact that we work with a lot of the fire agencies here and not taking from them when they're out responding, so we can bring our own radios and work in around with them.
Okay, any other questions on KK? How about LQ? This is the Secretary of State's net flow and intrusion detection system monitoring and analysis. This is the one we're going to increase by a little over $11,000. So the new total for that line item is going to be $145,425.
Matt Peterson, Elko County.
Go ahead, sir.
I don't disagree with any of it. I just want to ask a question. Can somebody give me less than 30 seconds of what this does and doesn't?
Do we have anybody from the Secretary of State's office on?
Yes, I'm just joining on phone right now. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Deanna Spicula. I'm here on behalf of the Nevada Secretary of State's office. And this system is an intrusion detection system. So it monitors internet traffic as it's flowing and coming through to the counties. And it basically alerts the counties if there's any malicious or other types of threats that may be attacking their systems.
And these are also known as Albert sensors, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And this is a normal practice that we've done in the past, and most other states also have as well. And this meets the election security criteria for the federal grant, that if we don't meet this dollar amount spent, then we don't get any of the money.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. And just one more follow-up. I noticed like Humboldt County had a $13,000 and everybody else was like 10-ish. Is that a blanket across allocation? Or is it more expensive to bring this service rurally, or can you help me understand that?
You give me 1 second. I have somebody that's going to help me answer that question because I am not sure about the dollar amounts.
You can do a go back.
I do apologize.
Curious.
They have, let's see, they are in a higher price tier due to traffic.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions on LQ? Okay, MR was removed by the Colonel of the Highway Patrol. NT, this is the Washington County Sheriff's Office Consolidated Bomb Unit Enhancement.
This is Brett Thompson. I've got a question here. So Washington County, hey, I understand that this includes the robot, but also includes a CBRN sensor package. Can you walk me through why you need the CBRN and the CBRN enhancement package to go with the robot? There's a host of redundant capabilities for that CBRN package that can be added to the robot. It's here in Northern Nevada already.
So this is Noah Blair for the record from the Consolidated Bomb Squad. What this enhancement project came out of was when National Security Presidential Memorandum 36 came into play in 2021. It enhanced the presidential directive for responsibilities of bomb squads to include not only the radiological dispersal devices and INDs, but also to expand out to dispersal devices. So once that came into play, we started working more with Triad. In June of 2022, we did numerous tabletop exercises and had some sit-down discussions with them of real life, how we would play together and how our lanes would merge and not in those types of incidents. What came out of that is, like, we have robot platforms now, but they were purchased 2007, 2008 was the last time that we got a robot platform out of this funding system or stream, if you will. And the technology that's there doesn't even have the capability to have that integration for the sensors to it. So that's why this was put in as an enhancement, because it truly is a capability that none of the bomb squads here in Northern Nevada have. That's why if you notice on the different projects, Tahoe Douglas didn't submit a project this year, Elko didn't submit a project this year, this is truly a regional asset for us. When we drafted this, I broke it down because it truly can be a scaled system, starting with the platform and then adding the sensors in years to come. But looking at that ability to work together with our hazmat partners from Triad to be able to put a robot platform downrange to start drawing data so that they can determine PPE and decon and all that type of stuff, and let them do the fire thing. and we can do the robot thing to free up people. It's kind of our idea behind this platform.
No, I appreciate that, and I 100,000% support the robot. My question would be, when we get to the potential cuts, would the CBRN package input cut and retaining the robot still be a viable submission? Obviously, the robot itself is extremely important, but would it be viable to remove that CBRN package, or how would that sit?
No, where for the record. So when I broke this down in the scaling within my application, the platform and training is kind of a package together. So the base would be 230. And then the 3 different sensor packages that are integrated. As far as the radiological, we have other radiological detection capabilities. And that is $20,000. When we look at the multi-ray and the tick sensors, those are the 2 that can really come into play as far as being able to make those determinations and adding a capability. We don't have that capability currently with the bomb squad, or the ability to integrate with the platform. And honestly, you know, looking at the dollar amount and the like true getting more bang for our buck, no pun intended. You know, if we got just the basic platform this year and added sensors down the road, you know, that's a huge step in the right direction for us. But I mean, the one thing that is, I noted in there, is if we buy the package separately and piecemeal it, because robot companies are robot companies, it actually adds $29,000 if we piecemeal it, as opposed to buying that package deal. So if splitting it out over time, absolutely an option, but there is a cost savings if we buy it as a package. Any way we look at it, we're one step in the right direction from where we are today.
Thank you.
Kelly Echevarria, for the record, I just want to add that Noah and I did discuss the possibility of CERC funds in order to support the package that you're referring to, but they are not available in the amount needed to purchase it through that route.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. And Jeannie, before I get to you real quick, Billy or Carolyn, didn't we get one of these on the UAG with UASI money for Las Vegas EOD team as well? And that had the CBRN capability built into it too?
Yeah, Dave, this is Billy Sanders. We did do that. And that's kind of the one thing that we need to talk about with our definitions when it comes to new, enhanced versus maintain. We did this down here with the UAG, and we did approve a project similar to this and kept it under the maintain side. I think we all have issues when we see a 49% increase in a project and calling it a maintained project, when in reality, if this was in 2007, it's 15 years old. It's almost like a new project again. So I think that's something that this whole group, the UAG and NRAC, need to come down with definitions. For this group, we actually kept this into our maintain side. So I would think we probably should follow suit. It's up to this group again, I think it's a good project, and I think there's validity to it. I'm not really sure when you call something a 49% increase, how it's a maintain.
So it goes back to that conversation we were having earlier about, are we maintaining a capability or are we maintaining a dollar amount?
Right.
Carolyn Levering, for the record, if I could chime in there, Chief. Yeah, so the thing about bomb squads and robots that I brought up at our UAG meeting the other week is that a lot of these investments were made, as was mentioned earlier, in the early 2000s, right? 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's when we all had a lot more money available in both UASI and SHSP. So we made these great investments, and we've benefited from having that equipment available and on hand. So, but equipment ages, technology ages, new technology comes out, and we have to find a balance of where it is that we maintain the capability, right? Because the equipment can't be maintained forever. You have to replace it at some point. But when it's grant funded, if you don't have grant funding to replace it down into the future, we have to either consider a hard loss and a loss of capability because we can no longer invest in that capability, or we have to bite the bullet and continue to fund and replace these kinds of equipment to maintain that capability. And with technology improving, usually prices are driving down. So it's hard to determine, is this an enhancement or is this a maintain? Because technology is better. So it's an enhanced capability. But if we don't invest in it, we won't be able to sustain the capability. So I think that's where we have a lot of difficulty with what those definitions are and why that increase from one year to the next looks so bad, but you're getting maybe 10, 12, 13 years worth of value out of that single investment. So that's just food for thought for everybody.
Well, and Noah Blair, for the record, we truly look at the bomb squad as a whole, and this robot platform it's a lot smaller. It doesn't have a lot of the extra bells and whistles. We look at the robot platforms we currently have. The one that we purchased back in 07, 08, we are looking at other funding sources to replace that, because it's a $500,000 replacement when we look at the capabilities for that platform. And that robot is the robot that we have to maintain our certification as a bomb squad. So this robot helps kind of fill the gaps between our older platforms, because for us to find the funding source for that $500,000 robot, as I run a consolidated unit, and getting Reno, Sparks, Washoe County on the same page for everyone to help me fund that is definitely an uphill battle for me. But we are coming to the table to fund that. So that's why I didn't come to this group with that high dollar amount. And I felt that this being a smaller project that was scalable, that this could be more obtainable here. And I absolutely agree with you that the money that we once had, I wish we still had to maintain all of these projects.
Right. Yeah. And actually, maybe it would help to put in terms for the group. What capability do we currently have that we will lose if we don't fund this investment?
So Noah Boyer, for the record, the robot platform itself has a lot of the same characteristics that we currently have. And that's truly where the maintaining capabilities, we're taking something that we could do back in 07, 08, maintaining that status quo, where this is the enhancement, is it gives us the CBRN integration, which is huge, right? Right now, for a radiological detection, I duct tape it to the robot, we drive it downrange, and we zoom a camera on it. Sometimes you can see numbers, sometimes you can't. With this capability and this enhancement, it allows us to truly integrate it, and it actually comes up on the display of the robot and gives us current values and identification for what the hazard is downrange. That's like night and day difference to what we have right now.
And honestly, at the end of the day, this protects human life, right? This is protecting your operators by preventing them from having to personally go downrange to collect that sort of data, correct?
Noah Blair, for the record, absolutely. I've sat in our finance office and asked what's more expensive, my replacement or a robot, and there's always an uncomfortable pause, in my opinion. But this absolutely prevents my guys from going downrange, having to suit up. If we're able to gather that data before, the intel that we gather to be able to make the right decisions uprange can make it more expedient and make safer decisions downrange when we look at not only the explosive hazard, but the CBRN hazard as well.
Thank you.
Jeannie?
Jeannie Freeman for the record. No, a couple questions about the platform. If it doesn't have the CBRN package, or if we piece it together, is it even a usable platform for the purposes, or is it just another robot? Does that make sense?
It does. No, Blair, for the record, the current if we just bought the robot platform right now, it would maintain what we have right now, right? It enables us to go downrange, to swipe and collect samples, which we can do now. It can open doors. The base platform robot would definitely work more towards the bomb side of the house. And then the sensor package helped drive the CBRN hazmat side of the house. And that's kind of the difference between it. A straight robot platform right now would absolutely be usable, and we can implement it into our calls for service. It's looking to the future and adding to that hazmat side of it. When we got all this dumped on us with the enactment of NSPM 36, it was a learning curve for me, and I'll be honest, like fortunate to have the hazmat partners that we have here in Northern Nevada. They're willing to hold my hand and make sure I don't go places I'm not supposed to go.
Okay, another question, follow-up question, Jeannie Freeman for the record. Is this a 1-year increase in cost ask, or is this a situation where once we get up to this amount that this will become the base requested maintain amount?
Nowhere for the record. With this, as Carolyn kind of brought up, like we in the bomb world, we spike, right? We'll have something like this where back in 07, 08, we got a robot platform, and we have used that robot platform and maintained it for a very long time, and it's still part of our response today. I am hoping, looking to the future, talking with my bosses in the room, it's a real discussion, the fact of that we can't keep coming to this group to maintain those big items. That's why we're looking at different sources for our main VBID-based robot or a robot with capabilities to respond to VBIDs. That robot platform is much more expensive now, and I understand that this isn't the source for that replacement, and we're looking at other sources. And I'm trying to push this robot down that same path eventually, but there are no guarantees, and that's where we're at with that. If that makes sense.
It does, but you didn't answer my question. Are you going to come back next year and want $300,000 for this program, or will your dollar amount be lower again, similar to where it, a 49% decrease from this year, similar to that level?
Nowhere for the record. Yes, my maintain project that was asked for this year, which is around $160,000, which has been our ask. We've been in the 140 to, I think the highest I've had is 200,000 over the last 6 years that I've been doing this. That is our normal maintain capability project. That's why I submitted this as an enhancement, is because I truly feel it's an enhancement of our capabilities, and it's something new to us as opposed to that maintain. And I wanted to separate it because $300,000 extra will not be the norm for us.
Thank you.
Any other questions on NT, the Consolidated Bomb Unit? And the big advantage we do have too is the bomb teams of our state have really looked at themselves as a task force, and they all talk with one another. And like Noah started out the conversation, they have a discussion about who needs what and how they prioritize who gets those things, and they share those resources together. So that they get along very well, whether it's the Elko, Todd Douglas Consolidated, or down in the Las Vegas EOD. And that's something that we can celebrate a lot about. Okay, OU. This is the Washington County Sheriff's Office Cybersecurity Maintain. Any questions on the OU? Okay, seeing none, the last of the maintain projects, PV. This is the Regional Intelligence Center ask from the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Any questions for that? Okay, that takes us through the maintain project. So now, committee members, let's have a discussion about how we want to move forward. Do we like all these projects and we want to fund these, and then we'll take a quick break, so that way, since we're all on Zoom land, we can use the restroom, not be in and out, but we can all be off at the same time, and that'll give grant staff a chance to ensure the numbers are correct? Or is there anything that someone wants to say, I don't really think this fits in maintain, I want to pull this out and have it as a competitive project? What's the thoughts of the group?
Sir, LVMPD Armor from Las Vegas. How are you?
Sir, are you on the committee?
I am not on the committee, but I have a presentation. It's going to be number W. But as far as we're talking about a lot of conversation with maintain versus enhancement projects, I feel that the project we submitted should have been under maintain because it's maintaining the current capability. I know there's been a lot of discussion on that.
And it sounds like your grant request wasn't put in that way, so that's how it's been agendized and notarized.
Correct, sir.
And so we'll have to talk about your project in the new program later on.
Okay, sir. Just wanted to touch base.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Billy, you guys came out under unmute.
Yes, sir. So I think one thing that we probably could ask Chair, this is Billy Samuels. So, is if anyone's able to take some of their projects, if they can reduce anything, maybe if we start there, or if we're just gonna try to fund this in its entirety. I think there are some capabilities that could be reduced if they want to try to be good fellow partners working for. If not, then it could affect some of the projects that are on the new side. So, I think we can have that ask for any of those project holders.
Does anybody under the maintain list have something they'd like to give up or reduce that we've talked about already?
Hey, Dave, Matt Peterson, do you want to take like a 5 or 10 minute break and let them discuss things in the dugout before we do that? That way they can figure out what they want to give up.
Yeah, we can go ahead and let's take a 10-minute break. Don't talk, and because this is a public open meeting, let's clarify what Matt's stating there. This isn't for you to call the other members of the committee and have those discussions, because that violates the open meeting law. This would be for you to go back and reach out to your management to see if there is anything that you like to pull off the table. So that way you're not just put on the spot here today.
And Dave, while we're doing that, I think that same group, as everyone knows, there were almost 1.2 million over. Those new projects probably have the same discussions as well while we have this 10-minute break.
Absolutely. So it's 2:10 right now. If everyone that has a project can talk to their leadership and their management and their leaders to see if there's anything you can cut out of that project, so that way we can fund more of these projects, we'd appreciate it. So it's 2:10 right now. We'll come back at 2:20. Okay, 1 minute warning, everyone. 1 minute warning. Okay, welcome back, everyone. It is 14:20 hours, and we will get the NRAC committee back together. I would like to, we had staff rerun the numbers to make sure that everything was clear, so that way everybody knows what money amounts we're dealing with. So in maintain, we currently have $3,730,732 in asks. In new projects, we have $1,922,109 in asks. That means we must cut to fund projects. We have to cut $1,047,717. So if we fund all these maintained projects, that only leaves us $874,392 to fund that 1.9 million in asks. Everybody got the numbers in at least the ratios in your heads of what you need to know?
Dave, can you repeat the, not the maintainer, the new, but the over?
We are over 1,047,717.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're still on agenda item number 5. These are the maintained projects, and we took a break to see if any of the maintained projects wanted to withdraw their programs or to cut dollar amounts on it. Does any maintained projects have any dollar amounts that they would like to give up?
Joel Osterreich for the record, Washington County CERT. I would be willing to take $30,000 out of the radio ask.
Okay.
Chief, Selby Marks here with the NTAC. We can offer $25,000.
Okay.
Chief, can we get the project number on those?
So that would be, the first one would be project number 438737. That would be KK for the Washington County Sheriff's Office CERT maintained minus 30,000. The second one would be FF. That's project number 439684 for the Nevada Threat Analysis Center. That would be reducing them by 25,000.
Noah Blair for the record on project NT for our enhanced 439465. We'll reduce it by 20,000.
Okay, 20,000 reduction on NT 439465 for the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Anybody else have any other money to give up in the maintained projects? Okay, what's the feeling of the committee? Is there anybody feel good enough to make a motion on these maintained projects?
Matt Peterson, I'll make a motion to move forward on the maintained projects with the adjusted dollar amounts.
Christopher Lake will second.
Chief Fogerson, I have a question.
So hang on one second. We got a motion by Chief Peterson, a second by Dr. Lake. Any discussion, Dr. Freeman?
Noah, that $20,000 reduction, where's that going to come from? Where's that other 20,000 going to come?
Sorry, Noah Blair for the record, for the radiological detection implement, that's what I removed as part of that. The bomb squad is currently part of another program through Securing the Cities. It's a grant program through San Francisco. One of the major pushes through there is the preventative nuke rad detection side of it. And I believe that I can can secure that funding through that ask. If not, Kelly Echevarria had brought up earlier today in another tabletop we were part of a funding source that could help us secure for some of this detection side of it.
But do you think that you'd be able to, through those other options, become whole so that the purchase of this unit allows it to be the capacity that you're saying is needed to maintain capability?
Sorry, no more for the record, you're breaking up a little bit, but the radiological detection side of it, we are very well funded through different entities, through FBI and securing the cities. So I don't think it's a loss of capability. Honestly, it's more work for me to dig out that other funding source to make sure that it's whole. I don't believe, based off of our current capabilities, when it comes to radiological detection, that we would lose any capabilities to it. The other two detection part of it, I don't have that, and that would truly be a loss in capability. So that's why I chose my deduction to be the 20,000 for the radiological component, because we currently have different ways to have that capability, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
So this is Misty Robinson for the record. So with taking that out and being able to purchase it hopefully from another source, then that maintains the discount, because I see that if things are purchased separately, that they'll cost $29,000 more. So just wanted to make sure that you'd be able to maintain that discount.
No word for the record, we'll be able to maintain that discount where it came in as, so if we purchase the platform, the training and the two sensors that aren't the radiological, we're still getting that package deal for those sensors. Where that extra $29,000 came into play is if I bought the platform and then I come back a year later and buy the radiological, and I come back a year later and buy the TIC and then buy the multi-ray, by spreading that out, the company, it increased the price. So if we start with, hey, this is a basic package we want minus the radiological, that allows us to have that $20,000 deduction. Where the extra $30,000 came in, or 29,000, is when I asked them to break it down to scale it for me. That's where we saw that increase in price that wasn't delineated in this budget.
Okay, great, thanks.
Kelly?
Yeah, Kelly Echevarria for the record. So with those cuts, what does that bring the new total to? And how much farther do we have to go? Thank you.
Sorry, no more for the record. Kelly, was that just?
No, that's not for you, Noah.
Okay.
Not unless you have it, Noah. No, that was directed at Zach.
No, I'm not that good.
Jared Franco for the record. Our new maintained total is $3,655,732, leaving $949,392 left for allocation of new projects.
So that keeps us to, when we look at those 11 new projects, we got to cut about $1 million out of the new projects.
Hey, Zach, this is Rachel Skidmore for the record. So I'm following along doing all the numbers as well, but I'm 3,653,292.79. We took a reduction in project F for 25,000, a reduction in project K for 35,000, an addition of 11,025 in project L, a reduction of complete project M, and a reduction of 20,000 on N, correct?
So Rachel, what I'm seeing is project K was not a reduction of 35,000, but a reduction of 30,000. Washoe County, sir.
Joe Osler, sir, for the record. Yes, it was 30,000.
I'm stealing more money from you. I apologize. That was not my intention. So, Zach, did you say you're at 3,658,292.79?
3,655,732.
I'm still off. I'm trying to figure out where my figures are wrong. And it's based on the same Excel file we sent out today, right?
Affirmative.
Could you just read your totals for project A through O? I'm sorry, A through P really quickly? I apologize.
A through what?
Well, let me think.
So I'm seeing for the maintained, requested amount for A is $19,017.50. For B, $166,759. Project C, $60,000. Project D, $59,326.43.
Right, 509,000. Say that one again. That might be it.
Seeing $509,326.43.
No, that's right. Okay, keep going.
E is $113,250. For F, $797,066.80.
So did
Project
they take a $20,000 reduction? That's the difference.
$25,000 reduction, yes.
So it's 799,626.80.
There was a correction towards the beginning of the meeting where this was changed to the requested amount from what it was to $822,066.80. Do you have that?
I'm sorry, I actually overwrote it when Selby took the actual reduction. So it's 8. What was their new formal first ask?
Sorry, their new final amount is that $797.66.80.
Thank you, sir. No need to read through the rest. That just cleaned it up. I appreciate it. I just like to make sure I'm following along with the finances.
Okay, so we have a motion by Chief Peterson, a second by Dr. Lake to accept projects A through P, removing project M, reducing project N by 20,000, reducing project K by 30,000, and reducing project F by 25,000. And to advance all those projects on to recommend to the Homeland Security Committee on Finance tomorrow for funding.
Sorry, Chief Kelly Echevarria, for the record, I have one more question.
Go ahead.
So my question is, if we move on this and we all accept it, and then we go through the enhancement projects, can we go back if we need to? Or should we? I don't know.
So we never have in the past. This is the same agenda we run 3 years in a row. We've gone in more detail this year than we've ever gone before with the maintained projects. So this is the process we've used the last 3 years in a row, that we vote on the maintained projects because they maintain a capability that's important to the state and important to our local jurisdiction. We lose that capability, then we lose that ability to, we got to find a way to make that up. The new projects are the cool new stuff that people want to do, not the things that we need to maintain as a state. And so we've always voted on these separately, and then had the enhanced projects, the new projects have to be competitive with one another.
Happy, thank you.
Hey, Kelly, Dave, I think her question, this is Billy, I think her question was, if whatever falls below the red line, can we go back to the maintained projects and whatever funding is available, are they able to receive that? If, let's say we're over $60,000 below the red line, can that go towards some of these maintained projects?
I don't believe we've ever done that before, Billy, because we've always voted. This is the first time we've actually asked for reductions of the maintain to try to give the new program some more stuff. And the reductions we've asked for on the maintain really isn't that much for the amount of money that we're spending on maintain. And so if somebody, between the CERT team, the INTAC, and the Washington County Sheriff's Office, there are only 3 taking reductions there. If they needed to seek deobligated funds in the future, we could find deobligated funds to assist them in those matters too. And then we'd go through that process.
Chief, we have in the past voted on these, I think, all at once. It's hard to recall, so very long ago. So probably at least 4 or 5 years ago. I remember you were sitting next to me when it happened. I can tell you that, but it was when we were filling these out on paper and taping them to the wall, if you recall that. So it was quite some time ago.
Yes, ma'am. That was when all the projects got voted on completely and we didn't have a maintain versus new. Everything got voted on at once. 3 years ago is when we changed to this new system we do where we vote upon the maintains. That way we ensure that we maintain the core capabilities the state has to have. And then we can see if anybody has new projects to add to the program. Because you're absolutely right. We did do that back in the Caleb Cage, Justin Luna days.
Copy, understood. I'm glad your memory works better than mine.
Andrea, go ahead, ma'am.
Andrea S. for the record. Deobligated funds keep coming up, and I was curious, have we been tracking or has it been tracked which agencies tend to deobligate their funds on projects that have been a maintain and not a new? Or does that ever play into the decision of how much funds we're giving to particular organizations?
Good question, ma'am. That's the process we just started here about 6 months ago, where we will actually start automatically deobligating money from some of these projects, because we do have some people that have not used any of that money. And so we do have a new process we started 6 months ago, and we talked about at this meeting 2 meetings ago to make that happen to go forward. Again, we still got 11 projects we got to talk about to try to spend that money, and we got to maintain some state capabilities here. So we do have a motion on the floor, and we're kind of now getting into some other discussion points that aren't really relevant to the motion that's on the floor, but are more on other items. And so I want to try to bring us back to the motion. And if we need to vote on the motion, and then if it dies, then we need to do another motion that people are more comfortable with. But right now we do have a motion on the floor, and we've kind of deviated from it. And I don't want to get too far off in the open meeting law stuff. So I apologize for trying to kind of get everyone back into the bus that we're trying to work on, but I'd like to vote on this motion for the voting members, and then if it dies, then we can have that discussion further about how we refine it if that's what is the will of the majority. I just don't want to get afoul of the open meeting law with continuing to discuss after a motion is already made and we go too far. Does anybody have any questions that are germane to the motion? Okay, with that, I'll call for a vote on the motion that was first by Chief Peterson, second by Dr. Lake. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Okay, that motion is approved. So those items will be recommended to the Homeland Security Committee on Finance to recommended for funding. We'll now move on to item number 6. And this is federal fiscal year 2023 State Homeland Security Program project and budget proposal presentations for new programs. The committee will hear project and budget proposal presentations limited to 5 minutes from the project representatives who submitted a new project proposal and budget supporting emergency management, Homeland Security enterprise security priorities for 2023-2025. So on this agenda item, all we're going to do is hear from those 11 people, and we can ask them questions, and then we'll move to the next agenda item where we talk about the ranking of these 11, and ranking, remember, is done by everyone, and then we have voting by the voting members. So we will start with the first project, which is QL, and this is the Carson City Community Emergency Response Team. And do we have a representative from Carson City to talk about their ask of the state Homeland Security funds?
Hello, I'm Mary Ann, for the record. I have a question for the Carson City Search.
Ma'am, we have to have them give their presentation first, and then we can take questions.
That was my fault, Dave. I got clicky on the mouse.
Man, Peterson. Do we have a representative from the city of Carson to talk about the community emergency response team? I'm going to move this to the bottom of this agenda, and we will make a phone call to try to get them on to let them know, because they had to be here to present or they're ineligible for funding. So we will reach out to see if we can reach them. To find out a staff member, try to get a hold of them. So we'll table Q. We'll move on to RM. This is the EATS communication site preparation and recovery planning.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Cameron Carey. I am the Chief IT Manager of Communications Infrastructure for Enterprise IT Services with the state of Nevada. With me today is John Spracklin. He is our IT Manager of Network Transport Services, and he's located in Elko. He's actually one of our SMEs as well, so he'll be available for questions. His staff is located in the geographic areas of Las Vegas, Carson City, and Elko. And him and his team maintain the state's communications system with a strong presence in Southern Nevada. So our new project proposal is for $85,189 for communication site preparation and recovery planning. This project is to recover from domestic threats and acts of extremism. We provide critical communication infrastructure on our towers to support the law enforcement radio system. The state communication equipment may be on a tower targeted by a 5G conspiracy theorist or other domestic extremists due to our hosted partners such as FirstNet and AT&T, among other partners co-located on the same tower. The request proposes to provide necessary training in the emergency gear to our network transport services staff to safely repair and maintain the critical microwave communication infrastructure backbone. The intention of our request is to recover and plan for the ability to repair critical infrastructure under emergency conditions due to any damages to the state's communication system by extremist activities. Our response to an emergency outage has direct impact in supporting law enforcement radio communications during life-threatening situations. The attendees' wages, the administrative time, the travel mileage, and the gas costs all will be covered by the state in our current 1388 budget. No overhead costs are included in this project. We have reached out to our partners at Nevada Department of Transportation for pooling of resources to share training opportunities which are not available at this time. We would like to thank the committee for being heard today, and please direct any questions towards us.
Okay, any questions on the proposal from EATS?
This is Andy Ancho for the record. I did have a question regarding this. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
My question was that I know this is stated as for terrorism acts, but what about extreme weather conditions as well? I know you had snowcat and cold weather included in the thing. So, and you're talked about law enforcement. So is it all communications up on the hills for the towers, or is it just microwave? And do extreme weather events count as well?
So we have that equipment for the extreme weather that we do get at the mountaintops. So we provide the network that allows the two-way radio communication and other data communication to happen for public safety, fire, police, and so on, and other federal agencies. But this specifically is to address what we see as newer threats that seem to be happening in the state of Nevada by individuals damaging tower equipment. And it could also be, we're at grants. So you're with fiber, we're at various locations around the state that are quite inaccessible otherwise.
Okay. So to confirm, let's just say like this past winter in Washoe County, we had multiple towers down at once that was affecting public safety dramatically. Is this something, your team, something we could use or anybody could use that is outside of a terrorism act?
Well, we certainly respond to all those today. Absolutely. And we had responded many times this last winter. It was a really tough winter. With the equipment that we have. This is the training and certification needed to be able to go to the mountaintop or wherever it's needed to actually do the repairs and get the network back up.
All right, thank you.
Chair, this is Billy Samuels.
Go ahead, sir.
So I'm reading this breakdown for training details: survival training, survivor travel, climbing, fall protection training. What kind of training have you guys already had in the past? Have you guys not done this?
We absolutely have, we have many new hires that we have to train that have replaced people that have retired. And other certifications have expired over time, and we need to renew them.
So how does this fall under the NRAC's responsibility to pay for your guys' training on a job that you guys are supposed to already be doing?
Because of new threats, there's the criticality of it versus the normal operation of business.
And so with the threats changing, but your training should all be the same. I understand threats change, but the training shouldn't change.
And the training wouldn't. It's the same training. It's just that to get funding to continue this operation, I don't have that funding, and so I'm asking for additional.
I guess my question is, why would NRAC be responsible for the training of a job that you guys are supposed to be doing from your company?
Okay, Kelly, it looks like you've got a question.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly Echevarria, for the record. How was the training previously paid for?
I'd like to ask Cameron, my chief, to step in.
Yeah, definitely, no problem. So previously, prior to COVID, we were paid for in our budget, a normal budgetary expense for $1388. During COVID, training was canceled due to the restrictions of being face-to-face. And so that no longer was available in our budget, and it was inserted into the budget in the most recent edition, and it also was removed from the budget. So this is basically our attempt to make sure that we're taking care of the emergency system with licensed trained professionals and trying to respond to an emergency, which our team has to react to, and very depends on the circumstances, the snow conditions, the weather hazards. There's a lot of issues that do go along with a communication site, including being able to climb it safely. And in the proposal, there was also gear mentioned as well. So their gear has expired. It's not safe to use. And so in event of emergency on the tower, we would have to call on a contractor, which takes weeks, if not months, to get the funding to appropriately repair the towers versus sending our own team in with their own gear to be able to climb and repair the necessary damage.
Kelly Echevarria, for the record, is there any part of this project that is scalable?
As far as scalable, I'm not sure what you mean by scalable, as far as adding more individuals or trying to work with another agency. Is that you're trying to refer to?
I'm referring to there's not enough funds to fund all of the projects, or are you able to reduce it in any capacity?
Yes.
Yes, so under travel, there was a $505 request. We should be able to try to reduce that by at least $4,000. So we can try to find some synergies with our current routine maintenance and driving the trucks around the state, trying to carpool and trying to find some wins there. That would be one item we can reduce it by. As far as the equipment, that one can be reducible, but currently it's supplying all of our 5 technicians with the necessary equipment to climb. If we were to scale that back, we have to strategize on that.
Jeannie?
Jeannie Freeman for the record. So I'm going to come back to this training point. It was in your budget before COVID. Then during COVID, it was removed from the budget. Then it was put back into the budget, but now it's been removed from the budget again. I guess my question comes is, we know that there's going to be people that retire. We know that there's going to be change. We know there's going to be a need for additional staff. How is EATS making sure that they're building into when we have to hire somebody or when someone retires? Because typically when someone retires, they're retiring at a higher salary range. They're retiring at a higher end. And so there's savings that go with that. And so why are we not using that to support the equipment and the training of the new people that are coming on? If I guess I want to make sure, and you're going to be put to the fire on this. Everybody who's a new project is going to be put to the fire, similarly to how those who are maintained were put to the fire. But why is EAT's lack of planning now our responsibility through NRAC to handle? Because my concern is that if you don't have the money for training, then you can't hire the people in order to do that. But that's a failure on EAT's part with making sure that they have what's available to train the staff, knowing that people are going to retire or knowing that people are going to leave. So I guess my question is going to come back to that training piece of what are you doing as an agency to make sure that you're preparing for and that those items are in the budget, because it sounds like the training is as critical to having the position as anything else. The equipment is as critical as having the position as anything else. So it seems to me like in order to hire somebody, you need the whole package of the training and the equipment. So if EATS hasn't made that plan, why are we now responsible for handling the rest of the plan?
I appreciate the comments and the honesty as well. So I'll answer it from the first point you made about the salary savings. So in our budget builds, we're not allowed to commingle funds from one category to another. So unfortunately, salary savings is something we can use. It's more for positions themselves. To continue about our lack of planning, we've gone through many, so myself, I'm brand new, not a few months old. I've been at the state for 6.5 years, but I'm brand new in this role. John Spracklin's also brand new in this role. And our administration above, they've been in their roles for the last 2 years. It's been the priority for John, myself, and our current administration to make sure we adequately plan for these types of expenditures. And when going forward for our next budget years, we're not only being focused on the safety and the training and the equipment going forward for all positions, but also goes down to our equipment and their maintenance as well. We also have other issues that we're trying to deal with between the road maintenance and trying to find some federal help for that, and also looking for our snowcats and their track replacement. So we have a lot of issues already we're currently facing. And so from prior lack of planning, I do take responsibility for that, even though it's not necessarily in my thinking. But going forward, it's something that myself, my manager, and my leadership above strongly feel that we really have to make sure that we cover all the bases for this crew, because they're so important to the state communication network.
So follow-up question for you, Cameron, is this a one-time ask for just this year, or is this something that you're looking for the next 3 years? Because typically we talk about 3-year capabilities, but are you looking for this to be something that converts into a maintain where there is a constant ask for the 89,000 to support the training and equipment and so forth?
Yeah, thank you for the question. We definitely is a one-time ask for us. We're trying to get our crew and our establishment into a better situation with safety and trying to help the whole entire state as a whole. So our goal is working with our leadership to make sure we approach this unit and their requirements with a lot more diligence, and make sure that we don't have to continue to put into a maintained state. So we'd like to make this a one-time ask only.
Thank you, Cameron.
And from a division's perspective, it sounds like this actually might be some surplanting issue that we might have to look into. It was previously in the budget and paid for with budgeted funds. There is a federal stipulation that you can't use grant funds for. And so we'll have staff talk afterwards to see if that is a case. So depending upon where it gets ranked, it still might get pulled based upon that issue for our federal grant guidance under 2 CFR 200.
Yeah, so to touch on that, we don't have it in our budget. It was tried to be added in as a one-shot money, and it got dropped. And so there's nothing in our budget currently that refers to training.
Copy that. We'll have a discussion with staff if this does meet above the red line to be funded. We'll have a discussion with staff to ensure that we do need the 2 CFR 200, because there are some surplanting issues there to discuss. Any other questions for RM from EATS? Okay, it's my understanding that Carson City CERT, going back to Q, is on the line. They just were having some operator error with our technology that we all have from time to time. Is anybody from Carson City CERT on the line?
Serge Duarte for the record for Carson City CERT. Carson City CERT has not applied for an HSGP grant within the last 5 years, and that's why it's falling as a new request. But as a CERT team, as everyone knows, it really should be categorized as a maintain. With that said, we're going through an evolution of Carson City CERT at this point. We recently saw the retirement of our Deputy Emergency Manager, Jason Danon, who was a strong point in overseeing the CERT team. With his retirement, we have a loss of continuity within the CERT team. And so a big part of this request here is to fund a program coordinator, would be me, who would be then primarily responsible for the grant administration and then the management of the CERT team, reporting and everything that goes with those responsibilities. The funding for this program coordinator would not include any benefits. It would just be a total of 520 hours throughout the first year. We do have some funding requests in for equipment that would be for this year, and we don't anticipate that we would have a similar request for equipment over the following years. But the team does not have these essential tools that we've identified in the budget there that are critical for the duties of the CERT team, and so that's why we're requesting that. We do have training and exercise funding requested there, and we see that that would continue beyond these years as well, so that wouldn't necessarily be scalable, but only to the point of as we expand the team and we expand our support to our community and to the first responders, that there would be a greater need to be able to send some of our team members to additional training opportunities and to conduct additional exercises. But the vision of this request here is to maintain and expand our capabilities in support of the community and of first responders, to expand our cooperativeness with surrounding CERT teams by the way of joint exercises and then potentially developing abilities to do mutual aid, and then certainly to continue and expand our relationships with other organizations such as American Red Cross and other NGOs, as well as government organizations, to be able to enhance their responsibilities and provide relief for first responders so they could do their duties. And that's my summary.
Thank you, sir. I think Mary Ann LaFoon, you're the first one up since Peterson already pushed on in front of the bus, so.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome, Surgeon. I'm glad you all are getting CERT up and running. I went through and I read all this, and I do have a question though, and this is on the packs that you are buying. I believe you were asking for 50 of them. Yes. And you have a price per each pack of $260. And I question that only because we've also seen in the other two CERT programs who are asking for materials today and supplies, and their packs are less. And I want to know what we're getting for $260 per pack, because maybe I'm not doing a good job here if I'm not getting that. So.
Yes, and I understand that. So, I was asked to kind of summarize in this budget request of what we were doing. So it wouldn't be just the standard CERT pack that we would be getting, but there would also be additional information in there or additional equipment such as knee pads, waterproof notebooks, tape, carry bags for their gear, that sort of thing that would be necessary for the CERT team members, in addition to the standard pack that we get through a number of vendors that has just a nominal first aid equipment, a pair of gloves, some goggles, and a helmet.
For the record, and I do apply. I mean, we put a lot of those in our packs. My thing is that at $260 each, when everybody else is coming into, if you buy 25 packs or whatever, they're getting pricing with a lot of the same things in it, and there are different vendors on just on a Google search and all are more like in the $50 to $75 to $80, even if you then buy the the kits that have your Write in the Rain notebook and all that. I'm just questioning on the money on the packs, and if there's anything that we can do to tighten that up in there so that it comes in line more with maybe what other teams are at least buying in the beginning. I realize you all are just starting out, and so there are some needs you don't, but I know in most packs you do get the helmet, the vest, those type of things already, tape, flashlight, glow sticks, marking crayons, all that. So I'm just asking on that, and it just stood out to me.
Okay, well, I can certainly take a look at that. I mean, unfortunately, I don't have the breakout in front of me of how I came to that unit cost total. But I can tell you that as I developed this budget, I did take the basic cost of a pack that comes with, as I said, nominal equipment in it. And then I added other, what I just thought was essential equipment, individual safety equipment. That's not spelled out here in the purposes of the limited space here in the budget to be able to develop this particular unit cost for this individual safety equipment.
Serge, we're gonna hear from Carolyn because I think she's gonna talk about the same thing that I was gonna bring up.
Thank you, Chief. Carolyn Lebring for the record. Congratulations on bringing back your CERT program. I'm a huge supporter, big fan, just so you know. Couple of concerns. First, these packs, we're used to calling them backpacks, right, with all the equipment, are not typically considered exercise as a category. So I would caution against trying to categorize that as exercise. Supplies and materials used for exercises are intended to be mainly disposable and things that aren't an investment for future use. The second component is once you move that out of the exercise category, you have to question what category it does go into. I know we've been running a CERT program for many years here in Las Vegas, and it's bounced around from equipment to planning to supply. It's bounced around in a lot of different categories. But most recently, we've been denied any kind of backpack of any kind in the last 2 to 3 years by FEMA. FEMA Region 9 has declined to make that an eligible item for us. And mainly because we weren't equating the distribution of that pack to a rostered volunteer program. So my question for you is, you've got 50 on here currently under exercise, but if you were to move that to another category, do you have a plan and program in place for the oversight and maintenance of those packs and the distribution as to who they go to and how you roster those folks?
Thanks, Carolyn. So our plan in going forward, and you may see that we have some community CERT academies planned here for next year. Our plan is not to issue out backpacks to everyone who completes the CERT training, only to those who then join the team, who actually roster on to the CERT team and who are then available to volunteer during critical incidents or other times where the CERT is being asked to assist. And so again, while I didn't call this out here, that's definitely the intention, is that this equipment that we're asking for that now is categorized under exercise for lack of understanding another category that it should be in, it absolutely will be rostered. It will be accounted for people who are joining the team, who are intending to volunteer in support of the CERT team, to support the community, and to support first responders. And so the vision of this, since the money wouldn't be coming in until 1 October, the start of the new fiscal year, is anticipating that we are growing the team during the time between 1 October this year and 30 September next year by essentially a number of 50. So we would need that equipment to be able to provide to rostered CERT team members.
And what's the minimum requirement to be a rostered CERT team member other than participating in the training program?
Well, that's the big part, of course, is that all CERT team members who are rostered should have completed or are in the process of completing the CERT training, the CERT basic training. There's a couple of ways of doing it, and Nevada recently accepted the online training of the basic materials that's available through the University of Utah, and then a practical skills evaluation in person takes place afterwards, where the student or the member gets to demonstrate their knowledge and their capability to do a small fire attack, do a search and rescue, med ops, other kinds of critical skills that are part of CERT. So it's the completion of the CERT basic training course that then makes them a fully rostered and fully certified CERT team member. For our team, of course, beyond that, though, there's a definite expectation that they will be attending monthly meetings where they get additional training or recurring training, and that they make themselves available for other kinds of training, for exercises, and for actual deployment during times of critical incidents or other large public events where CERT is requested to assist.
And what happens when someone falls through the cracks, doesn't meet those expectations?
Well, there will be a review, and this is part of, I guess, my tasking as a program coordinator to really think through this in concert with the team leads and, of course, with my new deputy emergency manager's concurrence. But if a person, for example, only attends a couple of meetings a year and has not volunteered for assistance and incidents and so on, then we'll ask them if they have intentions of continuing with the team or not. If they don't want to continue with the team, then we'll understand it and then we'll take them off the roster. But our intention is to continue to, fill any kind of attrition that we may have with people that lead the team and actually grow it. By the way, we've recently started a teen CERT program with Carson High School, so we're going to have a younger group of people becoming familiar with CERT and hopefully joining the team here in the very near future.
That's great. It sounds like you've got a really well thought out plan there. And I just want to offer our assistance when it comes to the cost that Marianne brought up as a concern. We were purchasing backpacks in bulk at under $100 a pack. You probably can't get that same unit cost for the smaller volume, but we can certainly help you find ways to bring that cost down from that $260 per unit. So I'd be happy to talk with you about that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. And again, it's not just the pack, it's additional equipment, additional information or additional equipment that we think is essential for safety.
Serge, thank you. We've got that. So just trying to move on for sake of brevity here. Jeannie, do you have a question for him?
Yeah, just a quick question. Did you happen to see how many people are on your CERT team and how many people have been added in the last year?
So we currently have 30 people on the roster. Of those, 8 have recently joined over the last 5 months or so.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Serge with the Carson City CERT team? We do have some members with a hard stop at 4 o'clock, so I'm kind of gonna ride a little rough shot over the top of this. So if somebody starts going on and repeating them information or repetitiveness, so I'll stop them. We'll go on to item number S now. This Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department armor CBRN enhancement for handheld Raman technology. 5 minutes or less on why you need it.
Good afternoon, student Everett Bates with LVMPD Armor Unit. So we're an all hazards regional multi-agency operations unit. Basically, we're a criminal hazmat unit. And we're asking for 2 handheld chemical Raman detectors. So these handheld Raman detectors can rapidly identify hazardous chemicals to include chemical warfare agents and toxic industrial chemicals. This handheld technology allows for real-time identification of both those chemical warfare agents and toxic industrial chemicals during our CBRN operations. This technology uses lasers, and historically, Raman technology couldn't be used to identify explosives because it could possibly ignite them. This new technology and these detectors we're asking for today can and be used safely to identify explosives. So that is a current thing that our technology cannot do. With this being handheld, it allows us to reduce our exploitation risks to our operators as we go downrange, allows us to maintain a safer distance and provide faster identification of these possible unknown materials. Our current Raman chemical detection technology is approaching its end of its service life. It was previously funded under HSGP funds in 2012 and 2013, where we cannot be maintained under warranty anymore moving forward. Armor's has a strategic partnership with the Reno Police Department Clear Team, which is Armor's basically equivalent in the North as far as when it comes to criminal hazmat. And our goal with the Clear Team is to get them the equipment and resources needed to provide the same mission capabilities that we have in the South. So we transferred one of our chemical Raman detectors previously in 2022 to the Clear Team to give them that capability. And then what we're looking for with the acquisition of the 2 detectors that we're asking for now, with the state's approval, we could transfer 2 more of those detectors up to Clear. So what we're looking for is basically this technology we feel is crucial to effective and efficient identification of these chemical warfare agents and toxic industrial chemicals.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Misty, go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, Everett. I noticed you have 2 on here. Can it be reduced to 1 just to save some funds?
It could absolutely be cut. Know that we're going to need 2 for operations as they reach the end of their warranty life. So we would probably have to come back and ask for 1 next year. So I know they're asking, so then it would probably put it into the maintain category next year, and we'd have to come back and ask for that again.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for Armor?
No, Blair, for the record, not really a question, just to piggyback on what you said. We've been working very closely with Clear to kind of have the whole threat hazmat triad component here in Northern Nevada. And we've absolutely benefited from the equipment on the tail end of Armor passing it up to Clear. I just know there's no Clear representatives on here, so I wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that this stuff is being used statewide, and we're taking that equipment till it's true end of life, but it's still being in use.
And to piggyback off that, just for we've transferred 32 pieces of technology currently up there with a price tag totaling of approximately like $500,000. So we look to continue to do that. We work well with them, and we train them in all the equipment we send them as well.
So just one grant item there. Make sure if you're transferring equipment from Armor to Clear that you're tying back in with the grant division, because there is some grant paper that has to be done when you move stuff from one agency to another.
Copy.
Any other questions for Armor? Awesome, great job, and thanks for sharing that stuff statewide. But you guys are doing just like what the OD teams are doing, and that's wonderful when we can add upon one another. Okay, T, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department air to ground link.
Rachel Skidmore for the record. Thank you, sir. Is my audio okay?
You're perfect, ma'am.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. I'll go very brief as I know we are going over on a lot of these. This is to outfit in very simple terms. We're outfitting 3 of our patrol helicopters so that they will have a live downlink feed. So for those of us that are on the UAG for the last several years, I know that they have heard and have funded several programs with regard to a mesh network. Now, this program that we are proposing is tying directly into our existing Silvis radio mesh network, which is that smart network to live feed downlink from the helicopters into our handhelds, command posts, incident commanders, area commands, the MAC, and other locations depending upon the receipt and recipient of the feeds. This project has 3 line items associated. One is the Silvis mesh networking equipment. The second is actually the radio recipient sites. And then the last is equipment installation with the hardware. This project is scalable. Right now, this is outfitting 3 of my patrol birds. The total cost for that is $550,000. If I only outfit 2, it's $396,666. And if I outfit 1 patrol bird, it will be $243,333. If I roll down to just the 1 helicopter, I would be coming back to this body for outfitting some of the other helicopters as well. Unfortunately, so these are something that we pre-plan and pre-stage for special events, which requires a lot of technology installation and requirement. The purpose of this is for real-time response, so that if and when a significant event takes place, we have that real-time action capability so that our incident commanders can make the most appropriate decisions applicable. So that being said, this ties directly into that counterterrorism mission. However, we would like to outfit all 3 birds because we don't know which one will be in maintenance or out in the shop at that time, but we would love to phase this project in. So I'd be happy to take a reduction right now to start with 1 of my patrol helicopters for $243,333 for a total ask. Any questions?
Can you repeat that dollar amount again? Everyone was scrambling
Yes,
for
sir.
that.
Oh, I apologize. So it will be a final ask of $243,333.
Okay, 243,333.
Yes, sir.
Sounds like a lawyer.
So that will outfit 1 of my patrol. Yeah, 1 of the patrol helicopters.
Okay. Any questions from the commission or from the committee members?
Yeah, Kelly Echeverria for the record. I'm sorry if I missed anything. I had to step out for a second, but is this not a capability that Metro is able to cover with drones?
That's a great question. So we are just building our drone program that we've been doing the last couple of years, tying in with that Silvis radio mesh network. This would be to outfit that real time for the patrol function. So our drones require pre-capability to deploy to specific areas. When we have significant events such as a pursuit or other items that are moving cross valley, we don't have that luxury with some of our drones and drone operations. So this would be outfitting a disparate technology, but yes, we do have capabilities with drones as well. Thanks, Kelly. I hope that answered your question.
Rachel, why is this? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah, sorry, it does answer my question. And then my second question was, which part are you cutting? Was it just 1 of each?
Yes, ma'am. So it's 3 line items. 1 is the actual receiving components and some of the items. So 2 of them are scalable. So the 3 items, the $3 values were $550,000 for 3 helicopters, $396,666 for 2 helicopters, or 1 would be $243,333. So I took the reduction down to 1 helicopter to outfit at this time.
Thank you.
Of course. Dave, did you have a follow-on question?
Yeah, Rachel, why is this on state Homeland Security and not the UASI?
Excellent question. I have that prepared as well in case we were asked. So as you well know, especially my members of the UAG, the majority of all my requests always hit the urban area because it benefits that urban basin right there in the Clark County Valley. Our air asset units are deployable. They're deployable assets. We've moved up to Nye County, Lincoln County, and some other things when we have Storm Area 51 and when we're supporting other operations in that regard. So this is an actual asset that's deployable outside of Clark County. Therefore, this particular program was put forth on statewide Homeland Security program.
Perfect. Thanks, ma'am. And Jeannie?
Jeannie Freeman for the record. Rachel, did I hear you correctly that if you take a reduction, you're going to be coming back for this as a maintenance project to do the other 2?
No, so for maintenance, Jeannie, we maintain full-time personnel. Our TAS section does all of the radio Silvis mesh network technology maintenance. And then I have an entire air ground crew that does all of my maintenance for my birds and helicopters. Life cycle of the grant for the technology would be something that would potentially be maintenance. If I came back next year, it would be for expanding this existing program to move to a 2nd and 3rd helicopter. So it wouldn't be maintenance, it would be expanding the program to the other 2 helicopters that won't be outfitted.
Okay, and then
Does
just
that
to
answer?
clarify, it does, and then just to clarify, this cannot be broken down at 550,000 divided by 3. There, because there's
No,
certain items that can't be divided out, correct?
Correct. Yep. So the ones that I did, we pulled back. So it's not an even division by 3. That's correct.
Understood, thank you.
Jim, love to hear from you. We don't hear from you very often.
Oh, thanks, Chief. I appreciate it. Great seeing everybody. But yeah, this sounds like an awesome capability. I just think it might be a little short-sighted to only get one. I think you need it, especially what it sounds like it can do. I think we would need 2, because when we needed it, if we only had one, I think it would be under maintenance, like she said, so, as Rachel stated. So I would be a proponent to keep it at a level of 2 versus all the way down to 1.
He brings up a fabulous portion of this. So when we have significant events or long flight time, my birds can only be in the air, depending upon, pilot safety and refueling portions, especially if we're going long distances, up north towards our friends in Mesquite, or if we're headed up to the test site, or we are out to Area 51. It requires and buys into some of that flight time. So I'm flying 2 simultaneously, but one's refueling while the other is doing active operations. So that is a fabulous point. I would love to keep it at 2, but I know where we're at with funding. So I will leave it up to the committee to determine.
What would the 2 price be for you, Rachel?
$396,666, sir.
Awesome. Any other questions for Rachel? Okay, we'll move on to Union. This is the Moapa Valley Fire Protection District with the Stop the Bleed project. Anyone from the Moapa Valley the Moapa Valley Fire Protection District. I can get that out pretty easily, can't I? Okay, we'll table this one and we'll have a staff member see if they can contact them, just like we did Carson City CERT before. If you are on the telephone, remember *6 to unmute yourself if you're trying to talk. Can someone try to reach out to them for us? Okay, Washington County Emergency Management Project V as in Victor. This is the Homeland Security Grant Program radio replacement for cash.
Kelly Echeverria for the record, if I can just, I would love to see that, the comment you made in the minutes next time, Dave.
Yeah, I feel sorry for whoever's transcribing the notes, because that would be something for them to try to figure out what I said.
Yeah, thank you. So Washoe County Emergency Management maintains a cache for the region of radios that are available to any of our partners. We have already replaced 8 using Homeland Security funds, and we have 43 radios left. We are switching in the region to a P25 system this year, which is why we need to replace them at this time. There are 43 radios that we're asking for to be replaced, which will allow us to operate on the new system. Historically, we purchased these radios with the FFY 2010 Homeland Security grant, and then they were replaced again in 2015. So the first round was a 5-year life cycle, and we're now at 8-year. And we're only asking because the region is switching to a different system, not because the radios were obsolete. So that's just to say that they can last longer, as long as the system lasts longer. So we did previously reach out to DEM to see if there were deobligated funds available, because we know how competitive this grant process can be, and we wanted to free up funds for some of our partners if we could. Unfortunately, none were available. This is a shovel-ready project, if you will. So it's over pretty quickly in the purchasing of the radios. That being said, we are asking for 43. It is scalable. We could ask for less. However, that would mean if no deobligated funds became available prior to the switchover of the system to P25, then we would be down a certain amount of radios. So that is kind of where we are at. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. Any questions for Kelly? Okay, hearing no questions for Kelly, we'll go on to item W. This is the Washington County Sheriff's Office Special Operations Division Armored Vehicle.
This one, kind of taking off my bomb hat, putting on our Special Operations Division for the Sheriff's Office. The request is for an armored vehicle for the active assailant, active shooter threat. If you look back over the study from 2000 to 2019, we've had 333 nationwide active assailants, resulting in 2,851 casualties. 10 of those 333 were in the state of Nevada over 20 years. Scary number to think about, but we have to be able to prepare for those incidents. When you look at the 6,600 square miles that we respond to various terrains, we saw this year we ran into incidents where we were unable to get our current piece of armor up Mount Rose Highway to respond to Incline Village due to the inclement weather. What we're looking for with this vehicle is truly our special event, our soft targets, and preparing for any type of active assailant at those events. When you look at everything from our response and protection, if you will, the National Judicial College, our UNR football games, Hot August nights, street vibrations. Unfortunately, this will be our last year of the air races. All of these, just to name a few of our special events, we provide tactical support to, as well as integration with our tactical bomb tech program. This vehicle would be used to support that. Looking back, we've had Sparks Middle School, the Walmart active shooter, Montage, and those are the three that I came up with in seconds, which is kind of scary to think about. This platform, I know that there was some concern with the new controlled items that came out, but looking at the exceptions as far as disaster-related emergencies, active shooter response, that's kind of what we're gearing this towards, as well as the hostage situations. And then when we look at the anti-terrorism, preparedness, protection, prevention, and response and recovery, that's a lot. But that's when we look at our combination of our tactical teams, our TAC medics, and our bomb squad, kind of making the perfect storm, if you will, that if something were to arise, we would be able to respond to that. This vehicle would give them the protection if something like that were to happen. If you look at the dollar amount, it's $250,000 is originally what we're asking for. I just got off the phone with a vendor this morning. I can take a cut of $15,000 just working with him. If you understand like armored vehicles and we look at last year and Elko's asked, they were about $400,000. This is a substantial cut just because we're looking at a different platform that conforms to the new FEMA requirements that are put out this year. Try to keep it short and sweet.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. And thanks for mentioning Elko. I was going to ask about the differences between the two units, but I think you hit that. Does anybody have any questions for Washington County Sheriff's Office Special Operations?
Jeannie Freeman for the record. Quick question for you, Noah. In looking at this, you just mentioned that there are new requirements for FEMA for these types of vehicles. Is that what you were referring to?
No, more for the record. Yes, ma'am. They came out in early January, worked with SAC to get the notifications that were required to the Board of County Commission. So we started that when we submitted the application. That was one of the requirements. We've made the notifications. Moving forward through the process, if we were awarded these funds, there is some more hoops that we would have to jump through and work with Zach and DEM. I'm willing to jump through the hoops where necessary.
Okay, so a follow-up question to that is, would you, from your perspective and knowing the different partners and stuff that have these types of vehicles, would we then anticipate having other partners like you come to this group to ask for this type of funding to support vehicles that meet the new requirements?
No, Blair, for the record, knowing what resources that we have in Northern Nevada, honestly, the Sheriff's Office, when we look at our current piece of armor, we're like 20 years old, which is very, very old. When we look to Reno and Sparks, they have armor platforms that are substantially newer, like almost 15 years newer. So do I think that this is going to trigger an immediate reaction of look, the sheriff's office got one, we want one. My thought process behind this is I run a consolidated unit between Reno, Sparks, Washoe County. As much as my sheriff preaches about working with our community partners, that's where I truly see this fitting in, is being able to be used with these different entities. This Friday, I have bomb techs for Brooks and Dunn concert that we'll be staffing it with. We're also going to be working in conjunction with the Sparks quick reaction team for that. This vehicle we would have at that venue so that if something were to happen, we'd be able to respond to that. That's the benefit of working under a consolidated unit and the support that I have from the sheriff's office and our special operations division.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Washoe County? Okay, we'll move on to White Pine County. We have 4 projects from White Pine County, starting with X, and this is for a ambulance. Do we have anybody on from White Pine County?
Hi, this is Tabitha Hamilton with White Pine County. Can you guys hear me okay?
Absolutely, ma'am, you're perfect.
Awesome. Okay, so for the ambulance application, basically our goal there is to purchase a 4-wheel drive ambulance to replace the ambulance that we have in Lund. And this is a community that is 36 miles away from Ely or any other fire departments. I believe that the Lund Volunteer Fire Department also services other counties and communities such as the Duckwater Shoshone tribe, because they're the nearest entity. And this would be replacing the ambulance that is, I believe, a 2011 model. So it's well overdue for replacement. And this ambulance would be used for recovery and medical services for all events, including terrorism.
Oh. Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for Tabitha? Okay, Tabitha, why don't you go to the next one, Y, and that's the command trucks.
Hey, sorry, Dave, this is Billy Sanders. I think it's only fair to ask, what kind of capabilities does this ambulance have versus another ambulance that is a regular response vehicle? And how does this have terrorist capabilities to it? How is there a nexus to provide that?
So this ambulance would be for response for any event, including terrorism. I believe that it's excuse me, I cannot think of the correct terminology, but it's our current model is a F350, I believe. So this model would also include or increase capabilities as far as 4-wheel drive, the up-to-date systems within the vehicle, and things like that.
Does it have like a Seabird capability? Is it armored? I guess that's my question. How is this different than any other ambulance that's on the street today?
I don't think that it has any specific capabilities other than any regular ambulance.
Okay, thank you.
Kelly Echevarria for the record. How are ambulances normally funded? In your county, sorry.
In the past, it's been mostly different grants. I believe in the, as far as I've been in here, we've applied for a USDA grant to fund an ambulance. Some of our ARPA funds were used to purchase ambulance. And then also we have a little fire district budget, but some of that budget does go towards replacing ambulances as the county can fund them.
So is a follow-up question, is this replacing an ambulance or is this just brand new to the fleet? And I asked this, sorry, because if you're replacing an ambulance that was bought with a different funding stream, then that creates an issue.
Yes, this would be replacing an ambulance, but I don't know that the specific ambulance was purchased through grant funding. Like I said, it's a 2011 model, so it would be due for replacement. And I can look into what funding the specific ambulance was purchased with, but yeah.
So sorry, one more question. When is it due for replacement?
So it's my understanding that a regular replacement schedule would be every 7 years. So it was due to be replaced in like 2019.
Perfect. And same thing, Tabitha, for you that we said to eat. You'll have to look at the surplanting issue to see if this is a permissible purchase or not. How about you talk about why with the command trucks?
Okay, so the goal for the command trucks is very similar. We would be replacing I believe it's just a regular pickup truck in Lund as well. And this truck is a 1995 model. So it's also overdue for replacement. But we would be replacing it with a command truck. So it's got more capabilities as far as operational communication, like a main gathering point for any kind of event that would occur near Lund. So this application replaces that truck as well as the current fire chief command vehicle. That is a 2011 model, and it has 140,000 miles, I believe. So it's running high on its mileage, and we're looking for something more efficient and to sustain our capabilities. So yeah, this is replacing those. We would, dispose of the current vehicles as county policy allows, and yeah.
Any questions for Tabitha on the command vehicles? Okay, seeing none.
Wait, hold on, Kelly Echeverria for the record. So Tabitha, is this scalable?
Yes, so with this project, the first priority is to replace the vehicle in Lund as it's more outdated. So we can just get one, and then we would look at funding the second command vehicle whenever we can. Also, something that I forgot to mention on the ambulance application is that we did apply for the assistance to firefighters grant through FEMA. And so if we do get awarded the ambulance through that ambulance would actually go to Baker, which is another rural community that's 40 miles away, and would serve the same purposes and replace a vehicle down there that is, I believe, also a 2011 model or older. So I do want to let you guys know that we do have other funding sources that we're looking at. And that, yes, the command vehicles can be scalable as well.
And have you looked at any fire specific funding streams?
For the command trucks?
Yes, because you said one was for the fire chief, correct?
Yes, so we have not, this is our first, grant that we've looked into specific to the command trucks. But it's possible that in the future we could look into the assistance to firefighters grant for this as well.
Any other questions for Tabitha on the command vehicles? Okay, Tabitha, why don't you talk about Z as in Zulu, the SCBAs?
Okay, so for this project, we currently have 75 sets of SCBAs, and they are all outdated. This is another project that we have applied through the Assistance to Firefighters grant for 35. And we are just looking for different resources to purchase little by little to replace all 75. So we are just asking for 10 through this funding, but again, this can be scalable to however many you guys feel is appropriate.
Perfect. Any questions for Tabitha on the SCBA's? And Tabitha, why don't you go ahead with your last one here, the AA, and talk about the vest.
So the vest, the goal for this project is to provide rifle rated bulletproof vests for our 23 Sheriff's Office employees. All 20 of a terrorist attack. So this project would allow them to be suited for a high caliber rifle, which is pretty likely considering our location and it being a high a high probability of high caliber ownership from locals and non-locals who come to hunt in the area and elsewhere. So we're looking for more than just the regular bulletproof vest to provide for our Sheriff's Office employees.
Kelly Echevarria for the record. Have you explored United We Stand funding or LEPC funding for vests, I guess, or SPCAs really? I know that Washoe has been able to fill those through that funding source.
So in the past, we have purchased the cylinders for the SCBAs, but we don't usually have the funding to purchase. I mean, we could purchase a few through United We Stand, but considering that we have 75 that we need, we usually use that funding for things of a smaller scale for both the Sheriff's Office and the Fire District, things such as radios or gas detectors and that kind of stuff.
Kelly, any follow-up there, or are you good?
I don't know, I can be good.
Washoe County Sheriff's Office.
Joe Cole-Curcio for the record. No video. Are those plate carriers or are those actual, because they don't sell body armor in rifle rated. So are you looking for plate carriers or are you looking for vests?
It's my understanding that these are rifle rated bulletproof vests. And I think that I missed including the quote in the application. I apologize. The quote was from Shield 616, if you are familiar with the company.
I'm not, but because they don't make a normal rifle rated like body armor. They make plates and plate carriers. That's what I was just asking. And it'd be like probably $2,200 to $2,500 a plate carrier. That's all I was asking. If it's to re-outfit them with body armor or to get them up armor.
Okay, we'll move on to item number U now, the Moapa Valley Fire Protection District, the Stop and Bleed program. Do you need to keep this kind of quick because we do have a bunch of members that do have a very hard stop at 4 o'clock, so I want to kind of get to the next agenda item. So, Chief, I believe you're on.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
All right. So what I'm asking for is some Stop the Bleed kits for the 4 schools that we have in Moapa Valley. In December, we did an active shooter full scale. And during the gap analysis, during the after action, we identified that due to us being in a rural community, being primarily a volunteer service, it's going to take us a larger amount of time to get to the schools if there is an active shooter. And also right now that each school has one Stop the Bleed kit and it's at the front of the school. And so typically, what happens when there's a hard lockdown, when there's an active shooter event, the front doors are left open, but all the classrooms are locked, and the teachers or anybody's not going to be able to go out to the front of the school to get the Stop the Bleed kit. And with us having a prolonged response time, time is the essence to stop the bleed. And so what I am proposing to get Stop the Bleed kits for every school and for every classroom. I'm proposing 5 Stop the Bleed kits for each classroom, so that if there is a active shooter event inside of a school, that they will have the means necessary to stop the bleeding, to, in a sense, save lives. And this is scalable and is also descalable, based on the recommendations.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Any questions for MWAPA?
Yeah, sorry, Kelly Echeverria, for the record. I've turned into Jeannie Freeman, just talking about so just kidding, Jeannie. So I know that we in Washoe County, we've received Stop the Bleed kit funding through public health emergency preparedness funding. And that it's also available through state PHP. Have you explored those options?
Yes. So after our gap analysis and our after action, I reached out to, the state DEM, and we explored those options, and I received 20 Stop the Bleed kits, which I was able to put a few more in the schools, but this was the avenue that I was given to explore.
Have you talked to Misty at the Southern Nevada Health District, since she'd be your health district public health preparedness person? Is that
yes,
the avenue? So Misty can't source these for you?
Correct.
No, you haven't talked to me.
Not.
So we can talk offline.
Is there a Misty with the state then?
No,
you're in Clark County, so you're in the Southern Nevada Health District. So that would be Misty Robinson. That would be.
Oh, no, not Misty Robinson. I talked to somebody at the state.
Okay.
we might be able to work something out. We'll have to look at our grants.
Okay.
Thank you, Misty. Andrea, hand up. Remember, we got a hard stop in 14 minutes, folks.
Yep,
So
just real quick, also suggest that I just gave back $55,000 to state PHP, which could fund these Stop the Bleed kits. So maybe state could purchase them and then donate them down to your organization. Just an idea. They have to have them spent in hand by June 30th.
Okay.
think that's
What
a great
grant's that
idea.
through?
why don't you
What's-
tie Misty Robinson offline? The
Okay.
Southern Nevada Health District. She would be your contact for public health preparedness in Clark County.
Perfect.
Awesome. So I'm going to close agenda item number 6 and we're moving to agenda item number 7, because we got some thinking to do here, folks. So agenda item number 7 is the ranking of federal fiscal year 2023 state homeland security projects and the budget proposal. So we're going to do 2 things here in this agenda item. One, we're going to rank, and we got every member of the committee gets a chance to rank, and then we'll see that ranking, and then the committee members that are voting members get to vote to accept, or if we want to do some changes there. So at this time, I'd ask all committee members, there's 11 projects, to go ahead and rank those projects from 1 to 11 on all the new projects. And when you're good with that, if you can give us a thumbs up, and then we're going to call roll, and I'll ask the admin assistant to call roll, and then our staff will take the notes for who's got what, so that way everything's on a record. And then ask that Chief Samuels and I go last, that way our opinions as the kind of the final decision makers in this process to give the advice to the governor aren't taken out of context for anybody.
Dave, Matt Peterson, are we taking Malapa off? Or do they have another avenue?
Malapa, do you want to stay on to be voted upon and see where you rank, or do you want to be pulled off to see if you can get that through Misty?
Yeah, I'd like to stay on just to have another avenue if I can't get it through Misty.
Okay, we'll leave Malapa on. So again, as you start getting done, put your thumbs up and we'll start calling for you. Mr. Marks, or Dr. Marks, sorry.
Did you want my numbers?
I think he was just raising his hand.
Oh, you're raising your hand. Sorry. I said thumbs up. You put a hand up. Sorry. I thought you had a question with the hands up.
I'm looking for the thumb.
But
There
everyone,
is no thumb.
there is no thumb? Dang it.
I think we're all
Got a
good.
thumb. I keep seeing Carrie's thumb.
I put my real thumb up.
Okay, it looks like we've probably got everybody kind of at least along the line there, so I'll ask admin assistant to call the roll with saving Billy and I for the last, and then the staff ready to start taking notes. Okay.
Andy,
Yes. We're just going straight down the list, correct?
Yeah, let's start with Q and then tell us what the number for Q is and just go right down that list there.
Real quick, this is Misty. I want to verify on the list. It says ranked 1 to 14, but we have 11 projects to rank. So I just wanted to make sure that we're clear there.
Yeah, we're ranking just to 11 because there's gonna be 11 projects.
You call roll call my last name.
Andy, Ancho.
Present.
Go ahead and state your ranking.
All right. Do you want me to give me the numbers too each time? Chief Fulgerson, 4350665.
No, just go by Q in that first column there and just go right down that. That work? Yep. Okay.
Q 3 R 6 S 4 T 1.
Hold on, chief. So you mean W?
I'm looking at the sheet here. How about I just go straight down my numbers starting from Carson City, CERT?
It's perfect.
That'd be easier.
Yeah, go ahead, chief.
You guys, we're going down this list right here, right?
Yeah, I'm just going down the list of one. Yeah.
They probably don't have that, they're probably.
No, I have the other.
Okay, as long as we're looking at the right ones.
Yeah, if we're just going down the list, starting from Carson City, CERT, that's fine.
Okay.
Hey, Dave, what's the Q? There's 2 W's.
Yeah, you've got two different lists depending on which sheet was sent out.
Yeah, you need to use the ranking sheet.
The ranking sheet, it goes QRW TUVW XY. There's 2 W's on that ranking sheet.
So which one are you guys gonna go off of?
It doesn't make a difference to me. If you make a determination, that's fine.
So let's go off of the ranking sheet. Does everyone have that ranking sheet with them? I apologize, I didn't realize that we had 2 different sheets.
Yes, we have the ranking sheet.
Either
Okay.
way, the ranking sheet has 2 W's.
So
The Armored Seaburn Enhancement is W, and the Washoe County Sheriff's Office Special Operations Division Armored Vehicle is W.
Yeah.
How about you read the letter, the name, and your ranking? That'll solve all these problems.
Or just make the first W an S because there's no Sam on there.
Yeah, that's just like a
You guys are
typo.
on the paperwork side of it, so how do you want to fix it?
Working that first W as S works best for me.
Do you have a way of sharing your screen? Maybe that would help us.
If you guys just want to say the letter and the organization name before your ranking, that'll be perfect.
All right. I'm ready for take 2.
All right, chief, go ahead.
Q, Carson City, CERT. 3.
Love it.
R, ITS communication site preparation. 6. S, armor sea burning. 4. T, air to ground link, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. 1. U, Wappa Valley Stop the Bleed Kids. 9. V. Oh, my screen just moved here. V. Washoe County HSGP radio replacement. 2. W, Washington County Sheriff's Armored Vehicle. 5, X, White Pine Ambulance. 10, Y, White Pine Command Trucks. 11, Z, White Pine SCBA's. 8, and AA, White Pine Vests. 7.
Thank you. Roy Anderson,
Yep, I have the same list in the same order, so can I just read the numbers real quick, please? 3, 6, 1, 4, 11, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Travis Anderson,
1, 9, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 10, 11, 8, 7.
Jason Andrus,
Jason stepped out. This is Billy Sanders. I'll read his for him. 1, 11, 5, 2, 4, 6, 3, 10, 9, 8, 7.
Noah Hoyer,
1, 11, 4, 6, 10, 3, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9.
James Chrisley,
Okay, 3, 6, 2, 1, 8, 10, 7, 9, 11, 4, 5.
Joe Cola,
That works perfectly. 1, 11, 5, 6, 10, 3, 2, 4, 9, 8, 7.
I'm missing one number for you, sir.
Sorry, I had to get a laugh out of it. You ready? Q1, 11R, 5S, 6T, 10U, 3V, 2W, 4X, 9Y, 8Z, 7AA.
I'm still missing one.
Still missed one, sir. Can you start over but go slow?
1, 11.
Okay, we got it.
Okay.
are you ready, Beth?
Yes.
Can we go to Kerry Underwood real quick to get his ranking?
Carrie Underwood,
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Carrie Underwood for the record. 6, 5, 1, 2, 11, 3, 4, 10, 7, 8, 9. And thank you for that, Dave. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let's go to, can we go to Rachel? Because I'm sure she's in the same boat as Carrie.
okay, Rachel Skidmore,
Thank you very much. So I'm not looking at what I think everybody else is. So can I read the letter out too? Will that help?
Please do.
Q is 6. The Carson City CERT Q6, R11, S2, T3, U1, V7, W5, X9, Y10, Z4, AA8.
Gotcha.
And just so everybody knows that pretty significant event today for all of us here in Nevada. Southern Nevada Counterterrorism Center is getting the Fusion Center of the Year award, and they're back east at the conference with Sam Laddick. Carrie and Rachel, and I believe some folks in TAC as well are there. So congratulations, SNCPC, for that.
Hey, real quick, Chief.
Thank you,
Hey,
sir.
Rachel, can you take a picture of your ranking sheet and send it to me? I don't believe we have the,
Of course. Yeah, I'll text it to you right now.
thank you, ma'am.
Colonel Compton,
1, 11, 4, 8, 2, 7, 5, 9, 10, 6, 3.
and Cassandra Darho, are you able to get on? Okay, I will read hers. 6, 7, 8, 9, 5, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bob Denhart,
Sorry, was that a coughing fit? Starting with Q, 4, 1, 7, 2, 11, 5, 3, 6, 9, 10, 8.
Kelly Echeverria,
Yeah, hi. Q2, Carson City. R7, Eats. 6, 4, Metro Armor.
Yeah.
T5, Metro Air to Ground. U11, Moapa. V1, me. W3, Washoe County Sheriff's Office. X9, White Pine Ambulance. Y10, White Pine Command Trucks. Z6, White Pine SCBAs. AA8, White Pine Vests. Can I also ask that we see the master list of our rankings at the end so we can ensure that they're being documented correctly?
Absolutely, ma'am. We just got to get it on the record, and then we can get it that way.
Could I get you to repeat your ranking for the W Armor CBRNE?
For W?
Correct.
Great. I've also emailed you my ranking so you can make sure they're correct.
Okey doke, I will verify.
Andrea S.
Yes, Q3, R7, S4, T1, U10, B2, W5, I have double A is 8, X11, Y9, Z6.
Can you repeat those last three for me, please? X, Y,
Yes.
and Z.
X is 11, Y9, Z6.
Thank you.
Janine Freeman,
Q1, R9, S4, T2, U7, V3, W6, X11, Y10, Z8, AA5.
Got it, thank you.
Eric Holt,
Starting with Q, 1, 7, 2, 3, 10, 4, 5, 9, 11, 6, 8.
Got it, thank you.
Ram Kent,
Not present.
not present. Mary Ann LaFoon,
Q1, R9, S2, T5, U3, B6, W7, X10, Y11, Z8, AA4.
Got it, thank you.
Chris Lake,
Yes, Q4, R11, S2, T1, U3, V6, W9, X7, Y10, Z8, AA5.
Awesome, thank you.
Carolyn Levering,
Okay, starting with Q, 1, 5, 3, 2, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 7, 6.
Got it, thank you.
Rachel Marchetti, not here. Ryan Miller,
Starting with Q, 3, 7, 4, 1, 8, 6, 2, 5, 11, 9, 10.
Got it, thank you.
Akeem Patel,
Not here.
not present. Elizabeth Polton,
Not here.
not present. Tennille Pereira, not present. Matthew Peterson,
Q1, M9, S2, T4, 3, 5, 6, 10, 11, 8, 7.
Got it, thank you.
Ken Coiner,
Not here.
not present. Misty Robinson,
Starting with Q, 1, 11, 3, 4, 6, 2, 7, 10, 8, 9, 5.
Awesome, thank you.
Stephanie Woodard,
Not here.
not present. You want me to skip down to the,
Yeah.
okay. Melissa Friend,
Starting with Q, 3, 2, 1, 5, 11, 4, 6, 9, 10, 7, 8.
Awesome, thank you.
Sylvie Marks,
Starting with Q, 1, 4, 3, 2, 5, 6, 10, 9, 11, 8, 7.
Got it, thank you.
Casey,
Not here.
not here. Sorry, Catherine Nielsen, not
here.
present. Heather Lafferty,
Starting with Q, 2. Q is 2, 1, 6, 9, 8, 3, 7, 4, 5, 11, 10.
Got it, thank you.
David Fogerson.
Yeah, funny.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Bunny. Bunny Bishop,
Okay, starting with Q, 2, 6, 4, 3, 9, 1, 5, 10, 11, 8, 7.
I'm missing one for you, ma'am.
Okay, I'll just repeat them again. Q2, R6, S4, T3, U9, V1, W5, X10, Y11, Z8, AA7.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Now David Wilkerson.
Okay, 1, 7, 3, 6, 4, 2, 5, 11, 10, 9, and 8.
Got it. Thank you.
Billy Samuels,
1, 11, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 10, 9, 8, 7.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna let staff kind of work their magic here for a minute and they can figure out the results and where that red line is, what's above it, what's below it. In the meantime, we have had some people leave, so I'm gonna ask Shireen to call the roll again to make sure the voting members to make sure before we vote that we have that everyone here.
David Fogerson,
Present.
Billy Samuels,
Present.
Andy Ancho,
Present.
Jason Andrus,
Keith Andrews stepped out.
Roy Anderson,
Present.
Travis Anderson,
Present.
Noah Boyer,
Present.
Elizabeth Polson, James Chrisley,
Present.
Colonel Brett Compton,
Present.
Cassandra Darrow, are you on the line? Bob Denhart,
Present.
Kelly Echeverriera,
Present.
Andrea S. Andrea. Janine Freeman,
Here.
Eric Holt,
Present.
Graham Kent, Marianne LaFoon,
Yo.
Chris Lake,
Here.
Carolyn Levering,
Here.
Ryan Miller,
Present.
Akeem Patel, Tennille Pereira, Matthew Peterson.
I'm still here.
Oh, I'm on. Ken Pointer, Misty Robinson,
Here.
Rachel Skidmore,
Present.
Joe Coda.
Present.
Can you say your last name for me?
Cole Curcio.
All right. Rachel Marchetti, Carrie Underwood, Stephanie Bunny Bishop,
Present.
Heather Lafferty,
Present.
Melissa Friend,
Present.
Casey, Sylvie Marks,
Here.
Catherine Nelson, no quorum still.
Awesome, thank you, ma'am. So staff is still working on that red line for us, so we will then just hold where we are. As soon as he gets done with the calculations, we'll get it emailed over to Shireen, so that way then we can share the screen so everyone can see it and we can see what we got.
Hey, Dave, this is Rachel Skidmore.
Hi,
Yes,
Rachel.
ma'am.
Is there any way when you guys are to a conclusion for the ranking piece that we could figure out if this is something that you can email out to the team or share? I'm kind of operating out of a hotel room and off a laptop, so I'd love to be able to see the numbers once they're out, and I can't hop on Zoom via here.
Absolutely, we can email it to you. We can email to the entire group afterwards, but trying to do that in the
Thank
meantime is painful, so
Yeah, I like to track the numbers. Thank you. I appreciate it, sir.
absolutely. Yeah, more eyes on the numbers to make sure that we didn't do a slip of the numbers is very important to all of us.
Dave, this is Billy Samuels, and also what the value of each project is. I know that some people took some cuts and some didn't, so it'd be nice to see that as well.
Absolutely, and what they're doing right now that sound like Rachel was good with 2 of the 3 helicopter ground links, and then Washoe was good with a $15,000 cut to their armored vehicle. So those are the 2 cuts that they made right now, and they're trying to figure out where to draw that line and by the number of mounts. And then we can get it up on the screen and we can talk about it, look about it, and see what we want to do from there.
Dave, this is Rachel. Can you just clarify, was that, the dollar value that Zach or Jared left in there, was it for 2 or was it for 1?
For 2, that sounded like what I felt like we had group consensus on 2. So we can put
Okay,
it
so
there,
I'm,
and then when we vote, then we can go from, or when we start looking at it, then we can figure out if it goes to 1 or if it goes back to 3.
okay, so as of right now, we're at 396,666 for me.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I need.
Okay, thank you, sir.
96.
Send it to me and then.
I'll get it to Shereen and Rachel and see.
Okay,
Okay, we're unmuted.
you're unmuted.
Okay, everyone, I'm gonna have to stand up to go look at the screen a little closer, but we're sharing our screen with you. This looks like how it has come out. Looks like we have funding, and I'm gonna let Jared talk here and Zach talk here in a minute, but it looks like Car City CERT, the armor for the handheld ramen, the LVMPD air to ground, the Washoe County radio replacement, and then the Washoe County Sheriff's Office Special Operations Division armored vehicle. Those all are above the red line. And Jared, you had some comments you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, so obviously the numbers didn't match up correctly with the amount we had left to allocate. So currently right now with these 5 projects being funded, we are over our allocation by $1,941. So if one of these 5 funded projects, maybe even like Carson City CERT took off 5 backpacks or something like that to bring us under that 942 amount to make us whole. Does that make sense to everybody?
And I got one quick question for Zach on the Las Vegas Metropolitan PD air to ground link. Is it the 550 amount or did you move that down?
So it is adjusted to the two helicopter case scenario, the 396.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Thank you.
Noah Boyer for the record. Zach, what's the dollar amount? $1,900?
Yeah, 1941.
We can take that off our armored vehicle.
So what does the group think about what we got here? Paying for Car City CERT for the 75,000, some change, the 2 ramens for armor, the air to ground link for 2 helicopters, the radios for Washoe County Emergency Management, and then the Special Operations Armored Vehicle. So the projects that we don't fund this year that are below the red line are the Stop the Bleed Kit, the active shooter vest, the plate carriers for White Pine, SCBA's for White Pine, EATS communication sites, the White Pine County Ambulance, and the White Pine County Command trucks. What are the thoughts of the committee?
Chief Fogers and Eric Holt for the record.
Go ahead, sir.
My personal opinion, this reflects the intention of the grant being a Homeland Security program for the state in a positive manner, and I think it's my opinion is I support it.
Hey, does anybody have any other forums about this, or do we want to move forward? Does somebody want to make a motion for us?
Hey, Dave, it's Rachel.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm so sorry, just because I'm flying a little bit blind. Thank you so much for sending the ranking sheet, you guys. So which projects did not get funded? Could you just read that into the record, since I have our list, I just don't have it sorted by the voting because I have our old listed numbers.
Yeah, so the ones that did not get funded was everything from Metro. We canceled all those projects out, Rachel.
Oh, good. I put away for 30 seconds. That happened.
Now, the non-funded projects below the red line is the Moapa Valley Fire Protection District, Stop the Bleed, White Pine County plate carriers, White Pine County SCBAs, the EATS communication site recovery planning, the White Pine County ambulance, and the White Pine County command trucks. And we do have
I'm so sorry, Dave. Did you say those were the Moapa? Did not get funding for Stop the Bleeds in the school?
Did not get funded. But we do have a path forward for them with Southern Nevada Health District. And same thing at the White Pine County. With the White Pine County stuff, we also have some path forward with them with their EWPG, the Emergency Preparedness Working Group funds that the White Pine County gets for the radiation materials. So staff's going to follow up with them afterward to see what we can do to help them on those.
I'm sorry, and I know I'm belaboring the point. My phone cut out while you were reading the last, do you mind just reading the ones that didn't get funded? I apologize. I was listening intently. It did cut out.
So the ones that did not get funded, Moapa Stop the Bleed Kit, White Pine County Plate Carriers, White Pine County SCBAs, EATS Communication Site Preparation, White Pine County Ambulance, and the White Pine County Command Trucks.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome, ma'am. So any thoughts from the group? Path forward for us? We happy, not happy? Someone wants to make a motion?
This is Christopher Lake. I make a motion. We accept the current vote and fund the Carson City CERT, the Armor CBRNE enhancement, the air to ground link, the HSGP radio replacement, and the Washoe County Sheriff Office Special Ops Division vehicle.
Okay, we have a first from Dr. Lake and a second from Colonel Compton. Any discussion on that motion? Okay, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Awesome, motion carries, and we'll get this out to everyone. If Shireen hasn't already gotten it out, we'll get it out to you guys shortly via email, so everybody has a hard copy of it as well. So we'll move to item number 8 now. This is public comment discussion only. No action may be taken upon this matter raised on the agenda until the matter itself has been specifically included as the agenda upon an item which action may be taken. Public comments may be limited to 3 minutes. Again, if you're on the phone, *6 to unmute yourself, and I'll open it up for any public comment.
Dave, this is Billy Samuels.
Go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, I just want to thank you and your staff for organizing all this on the SHSP and the US side for all those HSGP grants. You guys did a great job with the ranking sheets and the formulations. So we appreciate that. I know they don't get a lot of credit. They usually get beat down. So on my side, I appreciate you guys' efforts. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. We have a great team, whether it's at the state or local government level in Nevada. I mean, this meeting, I think, really shows the cooperation of people giving stuff up, people helping each other out, people trying to find other grant funding opportunities for folks. I mean, that's what we do as Nevadans. So I think that's fantastic. Any other public comment?
Kelly Echeverria for the record. I'd like to echo Billy's statements. I'd also like to ask that perhaps at our next meeting, we could have an agenda item to discuss what constitutes maintain versus enhance for future grants.
Absolutely, Kelly. And you might have missed that at the very beginning. We talked about it, the UAG, I believe in July, we're going to start that conversation, and we'll bring it back to NRAC once we get that kind of start the discussion down there with that group, and then bring it back to this group since we're the final decision makers. Let them kind of have the first bite of that apple on that whole process. That way we can clean this up for the future.
I understand that kind of leaves out a lot of people. So,
but this committee makes the final decision. UAG just starts the discussion, and then we bring it back here and it's agendized, and we make the rules that then unfortunately UAG has to follow. So I want to start with them, so that way this group gets to hear their feedback, and then we can make the final decision for the state on how we do stuff. And then that makes them have to follow those same rules, rather than us do the rules without asking them some feedback. So that's why I want to go to them first and then bring it back to us. But completely agree with you, ma'am.
understood. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, see no public comment. I'll close item number 8. We'll move to item number 9. This is adjournment. Does anybody like to make a motion to go home?
This is Misty Robinson. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, Misty makes a first. Do I have a second?
Bob Denhart second, even though I am home.
Bob Denhart seconds. Anybody who wants to go home, say yay.
Yay!
Yay.
Yay.
Anybody that wants to stay in the meeting, say no.